This podcast is brought to you in part by Lisa. Lisa is on a mission to give your body the rest it needs with 2 awesome mattresses plus accessories and bases for a better place to sleep. They also believe in providing a better night's sleep for everybody, and to date they've donated more than 32,000 mattresses through more than 1,000 nonprofits. You can get 15% off your entire order at lisa.com/bombcast if you use the promo code BOMBCAST. That's LEESA.com/bombcast, and the promo code is BOMBCAST.
You know, it's a good sign when you see Jan hold his hand out like he's checking to see if it's raining.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I just saw the hand extend. He's like, is it raining in here?
I'm going to make it rain in here.
It's time to make it rain on this November 26th,
That's
2019.
Right.
No, that's sweet November rain.
It's Tuesday. Oh, God.
What?
Whoa.
I made it rain.
That's yours now.
That dollar is
That's
mine
yours.
now by the transitive property of you flinging that dollar.
That
So
dollar,
you owe me another Steam link.
Great, okay.
that dollar became airborne.
That you could have saved that dollar and put it with 34 other dollars and gotten a year of Giant Bomb Premium.
Holy smokes.
Wow.
That's right. It's on sale.
Can I have that dollar back?
That's
So
like-
I could-
No, you cannot.
Damn it.
That's like 3 Steam links.
That is, yeah, no, that is a hell of a discount. Yes, Giant Bomb Premium memberships are on sale right now through December 2nd. I want to let everybody know out there listening.
That's next week.
That is Cyber Monday.
Aha.
Cyber Monday, the final day to get in on the act. The dark act of becoming a Giant Bomb Premium member.
We're going to have that cyber shirt on Cyber Monday?
That's the cyber shirt is available for pre-order right now.
Right now.
You have to like hold a seance to get in on this? Is there some kind of ritual?
No, you just go to giantbomb.com/upgrade and then you can support this show.
You should make it a ritual.
Keep us out there doing what we do. Keep us out there fucking not taking no shit
On the streets.
on the streets.
By that, I mean in this studio.
In the studio, in the street. Yes.
On a boat?
I am one way in the studio. I am a different way in the streets.
Yes. Those don't rhyme, but I think we take your meaning.
That's exactly true.
Breaking rules here.
Yeah, you get access to premium content like a Unprofessional Fridays, which is like this show, but if we chilled out and also played video games and just vibed.
What kind of vibe are we?
I feel like it's a relaxed end of week vibe. It's
Okay.
like it's a hey, you made it to the end of the week. It's not a Tuesday. Here's the news vibe. It's like a can you believe this shit?
It's a I might have one beer kind of vibe.
It's a I have one beer and then immediately go to sleep vibe.
a low-key wind down.
Fucking A.
You might say.
Yeah.
You can watch this show live.
That's right. You could be watching the show. If you're watching the show live right now.
Thanks.
Yeah. Yes, you can download the show with no ads, all that sort of stuff.
No ads on our website.
You can feel the power of supporting Giant Bomb.
Yeah.
What is it? I had to
It's
giantbomb.com/upgrade is where you go. That's right. You directly support the show. Also merchandise is on sale. That t-shirt you spoke of, 20% off right now.
Wait, that shirt just came out. It's
That
not even
shirt's
out yet.
Wow.
Pre-order that.
So you can go to
Founders Club. Founders Club for that t-shirt.
Yes, get in on the Founders Club. We have to,
10 colors.
Shirts are overheating.
everything must go. It says here in all caps.
Yo, can I get that skateboard,
You can get that
though?
skateboard for 20% off.
What?
Coffee mug shirts, all that shit, y'all.
That is a nice deck.
Yeah, that is a nice deck. I have one on my desk. It is a very nice deck.
It could go on your wall.
That's where I intend to put
Or
it.
on a
Shred
curb.
it. That's right.
Nice.
Store.giantbomb.com is where you go. That is also through Cyber Monday. Which is the 2nd of December, otherwise known as the 2nd of December.
Cyber
December.
The Cyber Day.
Cyber Day. Yeah, they should just drop the month. I think that
Well, it's going to be Cyber Week before too long anyway.
it's
isn't it?
already
I mean,
cyber. I live in a cyber life.
Cyber life, man. I think we're trapped. We're not getting out. So join us in here.
That's right. Sign up for Giant Bomb Premium today. It's $35.
Join us to get in the cyber with us.
It's normally more than that. You could get it for $35 for 12 months of hot fucking action.
Wait,
Cyber action?
we have that?
No, that's a separate
That's
new show we're working
That's a
on.
different
Separate
tier.
It's a very premium tier.
I do keep thinking about we need to be playing more Commodore 64 strip poker games. But I keep
More implying that we're playing something.
Well, like I keep thinking about it. Like we should do the real shit and look at some of that stuff. But I'm like, should I ask? Because if I ask, the answer is definitely no.
Right.
So maybe we should just do it. And then if someone goes, "What the fuck are you doing down there?" I'd be like, "Oh, what?"
It was a
what I
glitch. It was a glitch.
Yeah, that's
Maybe we should make that show double premium.
Somebody put in a code. Everybody got nude. I don't know.
Slipped some
Tags, there's a-
dip switches got
right.
turned.
If we just, I think if we just record it after 7 p.m., we should be fine.
exactly.
Yeah.
All right, then I'm out.
But
I came into the office over the week. We went and saw a show on Friday, and so we parked here and came back for the car about midnight. And this office was just so threatening. With nobody in it, it
Yeah.
seemed so
Yeah.
big
Yeah.
and empty and scary. Like,
and dark.
Have you, Brad? You may be the only one that this might apply to. Have you ever slept in this building?
I think so.
Okay. Yeah.
I definitely yes. I don't know about overnight, but yes.
Taking a nap here.
Yeah. And I don't mean take a nap. I mean like,
Sleep.
have you been like, I can't make it home.
Oh,
I've got to sleep here.
I've always been easy cab distance away from the office. So
Right.
that's never been a huge problem, but I
Yeah.
can definitely remember some twilight periods after the Christmas party.
Yeah, it was usually
people-
after the Christmas party.
People would be in compromised positions on couches and so forth.
Oh, wait, hang on. What are you implying?
What's going on?
No, I mean like they
Spell
were
that out
I mean,
because
just
I'm
like
pretty sure the other thing happened too.
too
at some
drunk.
point.
Too drunk to move is what I mean.
Yeah. Those holiday parties were bad. It's a good thing they put a stop to them.
Yeah.
Because it would have gone horribly. Anyway,
Yeah.
premium membership's on sale now.
Yeah.
yeah.
Catch it.
GiantBomb.com/upgrade.
Upgrade
Get
to
it. Get it on.
That's right.
I think is the slogan. That's
Or-
the official Giant.
or-
GiantBomb.com. Get it on.
Or get it back on. If
get
you,
it.
You have been getting it on, then
That's right.
continue to
get
it
another
on.
year on.
Yeah.
Don't
Indeed.
fall off.
No,
Not now.
definitely not. Not ever.
Make it a
But you
ritual.
can't get off once you've gotten on.
You won't believe what happens next. That's the slogan. GiantBomb.com. You won't believe
It
what
looked
happens
like a
next.
normal premium membership, but when I saw the price, my jaw dropped.
I used to think that all the stories on GiantBomb.com were fake, and then one year I was a bodyguard at a local swimming pool.
Go on.
No.
Okay.
Man, you got to sign up for Giant
Oh,
Bomb
okay.
Premium.
That part's premium.
Yeah.
Too hot for
Too hot.
11 a.m.
Podcasts.
Yeah.
All right.
Yes, too hot for podcasts. That very extremely regulated medium. The fucking jackboot thugs kick this door open and go, "Are you cursing in there?" God damn, man.
FCC.
Don't worry, it's for an ad. Okay, you're fine.
All right, as long as it's for an ad.
The FCC monitor is sitting outside the door with
Yes.
a clipboard,
Yeah.
just
Again?
with his ear to the door.
Keeps tapping the sign that says, "Don't say the F."
Goddamn G-men.
Yeah. Yes, the G-Man is out there.
Yes, he is. Actually, he's back. I understand.
Slimy fucker.
Now, should we talk about that? I was going to talk about something else, but now we're. It's like a segue just sitting right there.
All right. I mean, you take it or leave it, man. I just
Yeah.
serve them up. You're the host. You guide. You guide,
Oh,
man.
let's get back to that
All
later.
Because what is there to say? They're doing the
We'll
thing.
get
All
to it.
right.
There's some stuff. There's some details.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Some nuts and bolts.
Some hands and hands.
Yes. There's kind of no games out this week.
Hell yeah.
So my question is, how's the
backlog?
How's the guess? Exactly. How is the game of the year prep going for everybody?
I played 1982's Food Fight for a full 2 hours yesterday.
Is that the best game of 1982?
No.
Okay.
But it's very good.
It's a top 10.
Food Fight is very good.
Food Fight is very good. Charlie Chuck. It's got a
Those later levels, you're just flinging that ice cream everywhere.
You get the ice cream. The watermelon levels are what you want.
Yeah.
Because there's infinite watermelon.
Okay.
I played through Dead Cells.
What?
Not Rory played Dead Cells on UPF.
Okay.
And I hadn't played it in a year because I lost my save when I lost my Switch. And I booted it back up, and my third run, I beat the game.
Wow.
But apparently they made earlier like no cell runs easier and later runs harder, so that tracks with that. But it was nice to like pick it up and be like, okay, I still got it.
Did you know they made a Gumby platformer for the Game Boy Advance?
Good lord.
Yeah, they
Good
did.
lord.
Totally. I had that card.
Really?
Yes.
It sucks.
It's not that great. Let me guess. Did they do like a Donkey Kong Country thing of like kind of a 3D
Yeah,
rendered
sorta,
sprite
kinda.
looking
Yeah.
motif?
How's the Pokey integration?
terrible.
At the very beginning, the Astrobots turn on their creators because the blockheads get a hold of the remote control, and then Gumby and the family of Prickle, Pokey, Minga,
Mrs. Gumby.
That's not.
I
the
don't.
rest of the Gumby family.
It's just the
Gumbo.
blockheads, Gumby,
Watch your language.
Pokey.
That FCC guy's going to get in here again.
Trumby, Bumpo.
I could turn into a ball. I collected a thing that made it so I could turn into a ball.
Oh, so it's
like
Metroid.
Yeah, it's exactly. Actually, you literally have to roll under a thing. I got to get in ball form to make it through here. So yeah, totally.
Picked up the Gumby.
I jumped on some robots. I collected some ice cream. Every part of it felt like shit, and I was like, "What am I doing?"
Maybe
What were you doing?
Get
ready for Game of the Year.
The Mr. added support for the Game Boy Advance.
Oh no! Oh no! That's the worst
couple of
news
days
for
ago.
me.
Yeah.
Shit.
as well as Food Fight, 1982's game from Atari, where you play as Charlie Chuck.
I'm sure the man I saw at California Extreme one day playing late game Food Fight and slamming the side of the machine and screaming cusses at it while he was just sweaty is very excited
Was
about
that me? Was it me?
It could have been.
Might have been me. Or was it Charlie
I took
Chuck?
a YouTube video of it.
Great.
Never published it because I
Oh,
didn't want
man.
to dox the sweaty Food Fight man.
Just put a bar over his eyes. That makes it okay.
Yeah, that always works.
Yeah.
You can never tell.
That's like, who is that? Barack Obama? Maybe.
I can't say it's not.
Can't say it's not.
It's the eyes are the window to the identity.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think
Name.
that's what they say.
That's the saying, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm in a weird spot where I don't want to cannibalize too much of my material for Game of the Year.
Sure.
Despite having done almost nothing but play video games since this time last week.
Yeah.
And having a lot to talk about.
Would you play a little?
I
give us
played
a little
through
taste.
pretty much all of Control. I mean, I finished Control, but I had just started it
Yeah.
like the night before last week, but I
That's when I get to finish up. Yeah.
finished that.
How much side stuff did you do?
Pretty much all of it. I only had one side quest that I hadn't finished when I finished the game.
There's some fun, weird side stuff that doesn't necessarily show up as a quest.
Yeah, I mean, I found a lot of like
you
hidden
find
rooms
like,
and stuff like
geez,
that.
here's a
Yeah.
object that I did
have
not.
I have a lot of.
I almost
thoughts.
completely missed the fridge stuff.
Yeah.
Oh wow,
The fridge is
Huh.
yeah.
that boss sucks ass. some of those bosses suck.
Some of those
ass.
bosses suck.
I died to the refrigerator boss a few times, but
I have a lot
Any of the bosses that had the floor like kind of fall out as you
Yeah.
played against it was
Yeah.
a little bit of a
that.
bummer.
The,
Yeah.
plant, the plant boss was a similar
kind of
one.
keep track of a few too many things.
Motherfucking
there.
Tomasi. Fucking piece of shit. God.
I didn't have I didn't have that much trouble with that fight.
I had way more trouble with like one of the last combat rooms in that game. The not the very last one, but one of the ones before that. I died more there than anywhere else. in
We're
the game
definitely. I know
combined.
exactly what you're talking about. I mean, now we're definitely getting into game
But yeah.
Let's save all that stuff. I have strong feelings about Control.
It's a game that
We'll try
inspires
to
strong feelings. I
control
think.
them.
Does anybody finish Outer Wilds?
I have just started it.
Okay, I'm deep into that game. I think I've got a pretty good outline in my head of what is actually happening in that game, which is really crazy.
Cool.
Yeah.
Good.
But that game is so obtuse.
The moon is going to crash into the
Well,
planet in 3 days.
it's gonna crash
you
into
don't-
Chewbacca.
Yeah,
But only if-
you need to find the mask and then find the other mask.
But hey, check it
and-
out.
all
Only
right.
if you're looking at it. Oh shit! If you stop looking at the moon,
shit.
it goes away.
I didn't know
great.
that.
I love
It's
that.
crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, that
Yeah, I
game.
got like 90 minutes in.
Okay,
this
that
weekend.
game is really hard to talk about without just giving everything away.
It makes me
Yeah.
want to throw up.
Does it really?
Well, just like the navigating.
The
and
flight
motion.
controls were almost enough to put me off of finishing that game.
Are you playing on controller?
Yeah.
Okay.
all I-
I switched because the thing prompts you to like.
Yeah, every time you boot it up, even when you have a controller connected, it's like, hey, play this on a controller, please.
It's way easier on there.
Yeah. I finally have gotten like proficient enough with it.
It's still a
I
little bit
kind of had to
clunky.
accept that they don't really want you to be like an elegant
Really good.
spaceman.
Yeah.
Like you kind of are expected to just bump around and like
You're like basically an amateur astronaut. You know? It's like
and your ship's made out of like wood and tin cans, so it kind of makes sense.
Explorers.
Yes.
That game that just has such an unusual structure because like there's no upgrade path, there's no linear anything, like there is literally no direction presented whatsoever. Like there's no shortcuts, there's no nothing to unlock. Like everything you do is on this 22-minute interval, and no matter what you figure out, like you've always got to start from zero every time. It's just such a I'm like dying to see what they consider to be a finale in that game.
Oh, sure.
Like
yeah.
what does an end game look like in a game that is 22 minutes long?
So you do the stuff right, and then
I guess.
see the thing.
Yeah.
and then everyone smiles and says, "Good job, congratulations!"
And then
they start
Gumby comes
clapping
out
in
and
a
says,
circle.
"Now you can turn into a ball."
Yeah. I'm fascinated with that game though. It is. There's
got some really interesting
wild
stuff
shit in that game.
Yeah.
The more you dig into it, but
I think my thing was I had a lot of fun exploring it, and then having to take off every 22 minutes to like fly back to like this thing I was engrossed in.
Yeah.
It's just like, man, fuck this.
there's a couple spots.
Kind of with you.
Yeah.
There's a couple spots where I feel like I may be missing something because just the path to get back to the thing I was doing feels like most of that 22 minutes.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like some of those underground areas that just take so much navigation just to get back to the good stuff. So I'm wondering if there are like some shortcuts and stuff that I'm missing. But anyway, enough about what I've been playing.
Okay.
Somebody else go.
I can hop in. I played a bunch more Sekiro. I've almost beaten it. I've gotten to Fountainhead Palace, I think it's called. Any of you played a ton of that game?
Not a ton of that game. No.
Okay.
Madam Butterfly's where I.
Okay. So this is pretty far in. It's really like probably the most visually interesting part of the game. It's like this cool kind of structure of houses that are like in a waterfall kind of. So everything is like ankle deep water. There's some deeper parts, and it's like
So it's the water temple.
kind of. It's one of the places in that game that actually looks really, I think, visually stunning. In a game that like is kind of hit or miss.
Yeah, there's parts of that game where you go like, this is really cool looking, and some of it I just felt like whether it was like enemy design or just some areas, you're just like, this feels like
It has like a grunge to
in a
it.
way.
That, like
Or
Dark
there's a
Souls grunge kind of like was
Yeah.
focused, whereas this
like
is a little more
watching you fight the Guardian Ape last week. Like that boss just has a look to him. It's just like I feel like this. It looks like a rough sketch in a weird way, which is like kind of a cool style, but doesn't always match the rest of the game. I guess I don't know.
So I'm going to try and beat that before Game of the Year, though hearing about just how many people bounce off before they beat the last boss, like it's I don't know if it'll happen. But one game I did finish was Disco Elysium, which I've been plugging away for a couple weeks on.
How do you feel about the name of that game? Because I feel like every email I got in the lead up to that game's release were like, Disco Elysium, it's a crazy detective adventure. I just looked and I was like, man, fucking whatever. Like just the name of it just was strongly off-putting, and then finding out what it is and like the depth of it, there was still like this disconnect for me in terms of like, do you feel like the name makes
one of those things,
sense
yes.
after you? Okay, that's
because your
my
character
question is like, do you feel like that stuff makes sense?
Yeah.
Having finished the game,
I can tell you this is going to be my answer to many questions for that game, but it depends on how you play it.
Right.
But your character, like some of your thoughts, like some of the responses you can choose are always about like, fuck off, I want to dance. Kind of like if you embrace chaos, your character's like very into just like dancing, and like Elysium kind of plays into the dreamlike nature of the world. But yeah, it's I was fascinated by this game from start to finish. I'm not much of a CRPG guy. I had to Google what that was before I started.
What is that?
It's a
it runs on computers.
It's an RPG,
unlike all the other RPGs.
It's a classic RPG is apparently what Wikipedia
That
says.
makes more sense. That makes more sense.
I always
now.
thought it was computer RPG.
It was. Yeah,
because in total, I mean, it's that late '90s like Black Isle.
It's like
it's the same reason that, like JRPG is a stupid term now. Like so is CRPG for a lot of the same reasons.
Those Star Wars RPGs, KOTOR people considered.
It's like Baldur's Gate.
Yeah, Baldur's Gate. The game that this game
Icewind
gets compared to a lot that I see a lot that I didn't play is
Torment.
Planescape Torment. But yeah, it's just a straight up RPG. It's very pen and paper. It like has its roots very much in pen and paper, down to the fact that there's like kind of no active combat. Everything you're doing is a choice you're making. Everything that your character, like, you have health, but you get damaged through like kicking a mailbox too hard because you're mad at it or something, right? Or like, so you have a health meter and like a kind of, I forget what they call it, but like a composure meter. And that can be like somebody humiliates you and you take a point of composure damage.
Is that permanent then? Or like, how do you regain?
There are items that you can heal, like magnesium will heal your health, and you can find consumables that'll kind of do that. And stats will increase. Like there's a pain threshold stat that you can upgrade, and that gives you more max health.
I was wondering if you could just sleep it off or something like that.
And you can't sleep it off at the end of the day. It's a game that takes place kind of over 4 days. And the premise is you're a detective who wakes up with amnesia, which is like right out the gate, I was
so
like,
it is a
I've
JRPG.
seen this a million times, you know. It's just like main character has amnesia. Oh, great! That's kind of, it lets you do the like blank slate thing of you can kind of create your own character. But the way it works in this game, or the reason that it works for me in this game, is because everything in the world reacts to you in a way that makes sense. So right out the gate, you kind of meet Kim Kitsurugi, who is kind of the other police officer who's been assigned to your detail. It's not your partner necessarily. He's from another precinct, but he got sent over to work the case with you. And the case involves like a dead man hanging back outside of your hotel room, and you start investigating, and you know, there you get into like there's a dispute between like the big corporation and the local dock workers union. Like they're on strike, and there are some scabs there who want to break the strike. And so you start investigating this world and kind of learning more about how it ties into the murder. You know, you start learning more about the world as a whole. You start learning more about you as a person. Like, who were you before you like went blackout drunk or whatever?
And so, like, how did you end up? Like, the reactivity seems like the thing here. That's the thing everyone keeps honing in on. Did you play as a complete sleaze dirtbag, or did you play it straight?
I played as a very sad communist. Okay. So there's like there's kind of four when you create your character, when you start a fresh save. There's kind of two archetypes in there already, and there's like a create your own. And there's four like blanket skills, and it's like physical, intellect, psychic, and like motor skills. And within each of those, there's a bunch of sub skills. So inside physical, you'll have like physical instrument, which is like kind of how strong you are. But then you'll also have stuff like electrochemistry, which is how crazy are you for drugs, or like how much do you want drugs, or how like can you tell that somebody's on drugs, like, you know, leveling that will open up different dialogue options depending on who you're talking to.
Do you have to be crazy into drugs to be able to tell if someone's on drugs, or are they the opposite ends of the spectrum?
You do have to. Well, like, it's easier for you. Like, you're like, oh, this guy's on speed. Okay. Like, I know that this guy's on speed. So the archetype I went with was kind of, and the two archetypes are like, you know, int and hand-eye coordination are like one, and then physical and psychic are the other. And the psychic stuff includes like empathy. It includes spirit de corpse, which is like how good of a cop are you. Yep. You know, that sort of stuff. And each of them has kind of a signature skill. And the thing that kind of hooked me right away about the game is the signature skill for Psy is something called Inland Empire. And what that is like, how in tune with the universe are you? Which is kind of a broad thing at first. But the way they like kind of right out the gate like show you how it works is like you get your tie down from a ceiling fan. You wake up in your hotel room, it's trashed, your clothes are everywhere. You start plucking the pieces. Yeah, you had a bad night, depending. Turns out it was kind of a bad night.
Maybe that's because of the choice you made. Maybe you made it a bad night.
Maybe I have to replay the whole game now.
Yeah, that's right.
And so one of the first things you can do is walk up to the mirror. And the mirror is there and it's fogged up. And you have a skill check, like a very, very easy skill check to unwipe the mirror. And I went to do it, and my Inland Empire was like, maybe that's not a good idea. And I was just like, what? Okay, I'm just not going to do it. And so your character portrait's in the bottom left, and kind of based on what you're doing in the game, you get like more or less fucked up a little bit. Like it's not like you grow horns like in Mass Effect or whatever. But my stayed a blur the entire time because I didn't.
You never looked.
I never looked in the mirror. I never looked at myself, and I'm like, okay, this is kind of like. I almost liken it to playing the game in a New Game Plus. Like you have, like it's almost like playing with hints on. And sometimes it's like, hey, maybe you shouldn't talk to that guy. And you start to play, and you're like, okay, like this is cool. Like I'm gonna get like a really good ending. And then the more you play, the more you start to realize like. All the individual skills, you know, empathy, physical instrument, reaction speed.
Did I see there's a skill called encyclopedia?
Yeah, encyclopedia is just straight up like, how much do you know about things? Like, do you know about the world and history and like what happened here? And kind of, you uncover a lot of that stuff naturally. Like this is the Ravenshaw, the city that this takes place in. It all takes place kind of in a city block, basically.
It's very small.
it's like it's kind of, you know, several years after a huge communist revolution kind of killed a bunch of people and then like got crushed down. So this is like a very kind of, you know, it's from I don't know how to pronounce the name, but Zaum is the name of the developer.
Zaum. There's a slash in there.
Yeah. Several of them are like from kind of post-Soviet places, and like so you feel that kind of energy in this game.
Yeah.
And so all those skills are kind of talking to you as you play and like suggesting you like, oh, take this action or take this action.
Does it tell you? I started messing with it and haven't gotten back to it. But does it tell you which skill is talking?
Yes.
Okay. So it's like because your encyclopedia skill is such, it's this.
And so that's kind of the cool thing about it. And I think this is the part of the game that when people talk about how this like revolutionizes RPG choices and stuff like that, what they're talking about is the fact that yes, there are straight up like checks on abilities. Like if you want like there'll be a legendary empathy check, and you know you have your empathy stat and it'll roll a couple dice against their empathy stat and you can pass or fail. But also at the same time, there's tons of passive checks going on.
Yeah.
And they only, for the most part, they alert you of these things after a success. You don't usually see the passive checks that you're failing. So it's not, because I feel like there'd be a ton of them just by how many successful ones were happening. Like,
oh, sure.
Just for the mechanics of the game, you're not seeing like, oh, you didn't have a high enough encyclopedia check, so you don't know what this guy's talking about.
So it's not like here's a grayed out speech option that you can't select. It's more like here, we're going to present you with the speech options that are meaningful here based on your character and your thing.
And that's what makes it really rewarding to like feel like the game is actually reacting to how you want to play it. And so like that stuff is cool because you're like, okay, I'm totally like I was halfway through the game and already thinking about what would I do on a second playthrough, you know, that kind of stuff. There's just so much in the game.
Did that hold through all the way? Because that's how I felt halfway through Outer Worlds. And then when I finished Outer Worlds, I was like, actually, I feel like I probably saw, like I certainly didn't see everything, but I feel like I saw enough of where things are generally going.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily want to go back and be a bad guy.
It definitely went from like, I want to play this again right away to like, I think I really want to come back to this in like a year.
Yeah.
You know, of like, once I've kind of forgotten some of the more major story beats, like come and revisit it fresh. And then, you know, like, so it's weird to talk about, but it's like a very political game because it's, you know, just right like in the aftermath of a communist revolution.
So like Call of
it's
Duty
about
Modern Warfare.
right, like Overwatch.
Okay, sure.
It's you know, and it's about like a labor dispute, and you know, it's about like revolution and stuff like that. And so, you know, there's characters in there that are racist. You meet one character named Gary the God, what's his name? Gary the zoo fascist or something. And he's
at least he tells you up front.
He's like a fascist about bugs.
What?
And it's like
so he's part of the is he pro bugdom or anti bugdom?
So we saw Starship.
He's got to be pro
Starship Troopers.
Pro bugdom. Yeah. Well, I mean,
is he from Buenos Aires and he wants to say kill them all?
He watches Starship Troopers and then he doesn't understand that it's a satire.
Okay, right.
He's like really likes the movie,
like,
but doesn't.
Yeah,
understand.
I do want to know more.
Exactly. And so like there's kind of these characters in there that like you're like, oh shit, like this guy's a shitty racist. I don't want to like interact with them. But the game does a really good job of kind of making everyone a real person. Like everyone, nobody's like a throwaway, like I'm just a joke about how racism is bad. It's like you talk to these characters, like, so, okay, one of the first...
So are you saying racism is good? That's what I'm hearing
I don't even want to get into this. One of the first major roadblocks of the game is literally this roadblock of a man. He's a giant. He's like kind of standing in between you and
G.I. Joe's
the labor
roadblock.
Unit. Close. I don't know about G.I. Joe.
Was he bald?
You should check it out, man. You should check it out.
He's bald and covered in tattoos.
Real American heroes. Not like these pinkos you're talking about.
And to get by him, the two options that it presents to you are kick his ass or subscribe to his thoughts about race. And I'm like, what? Interesting. Wow. Like, hear him out, kind of, is the other option. Sure. So I made a save.
Oh, yeah, I was going to ask, can you hard save? And
you can totally save scum. And I felt really bad as soon as I started doing it and tried not to do it for the rest of the... I definitely didn't do it for any like major decisions, but I just wanted to kind of see what this whole racial thing was about. And I like... They do a good job of really making you feel bad if you say anything racist because your partner, Kim, is like, a different race than everyone there on the island, and he will chime in if you're like getting a little racist.
Like,
and
hey there.
Hey dude, what the fuck?
I am right here.
Yeah. And so you start talking to him, and he just has this like 1,000-word scree about all the and they're all like fictional races because it takes place in like not Earth. It's kind of like an Earth parallel. It's very similar to Earth, but he's like, these guys and this and this and this, and he just like talks and talks and talks and talks and talks and talks and talks, and you just have to sit there and like click through it, which is like actually really good for like most people who choose this option aren't like, oh yeah, I want to hear about what all the racist has to say. They're like, this is the easier option because kicking this guy's ass is such a high skill check, and I do not have the physical body for it. So I'm just gonna pretend like go like nod my head and like yeah, and kind of zone out. But the fun thing is like if you have high enough logic, you'll start to poke holes in his. Like you'll start to notice contradictions in his thing and like just like start fucking with him, and he gets really mad. It's complex. It's like a game that kind of.
They've got Thanksgiving coming up. If you have a high, if your skill checks are high enough, maybe you too can go through this.
Yeah. It's if you
or just kick their ass.
Yeah, do a cool spinning kick on your uncle. Yeah. And so like that's kind of the one word I always go back to in this game is complex. Like the way that characters interact with each other, the way that characters will interact with you. There's this whole subsystem called thoughts. And that's where stuff like if you start saying enough communist things, one of your skills, I forget which one, is just like, hey man, communism is pretty cool, right? Like do you want to do communism? And you'd be like, okay, sure, I'll do communism. And the thought starts materializing. And then after 12 hours, and it'll provide a debuff for a little while, like -2 to whatever stat. And then after, so the way the game time progresses is every time you talk to somebody, the clock ticks a little forward. And then once it hits like midnight, you go to bed or whatever. So after 12 hours, you'll have the communism thought embedded in your brain. And what that means is anytime you choose a response to somebody that is like communist, you're going to get +5 EXP. And then you have like some inherent buffs and stuff. So it's like, it's not like once you become a communist or a socialist or a fascist, like there's all these different things you can do. Yeah. It's not like choosing one of those is like choosing a faction. It's just like, oh, it's going to encourage like, you to maybe explore these options.
If you start going down that road, there's suddenly like short-term rewards for going down that road, but you might not like what you find when you get there.
Totally. Yeah. And like sometimes it's a joke and sometimes it's like very real and people kind of will react to you and like, you know, the more commie stuff I started saying, my partner would like introduce me as a communist. And I'm like, okay, it's interesting that the game is actually like taking note of all of this stuff.
I guess that's the stuff, I mean, you know, that's stuff you can do if you set a game in a city block, right? I mean, you know, it seems like that's the stuff they really focused on.
And like no character,
like the larger worlds and, you know, those as the choices spiral out into a bigger setting that gets harder to keep track of or harder to keep it meaningful, I guess.
It's really cool too because that also allows you to just like, you know, there's probably like a dozen NPCs in that game and none of them are just quest givers, right? None of them are just like people you talk to for a quest. They're all people that have history. They're all people that have ties to other people. They're all people that like you can hear their stories. You can talk to them. You can fuck with them. Sometimes they'll give you a quest. Sometimes they won't. Like you can ruin relationships. You can kind of just like I was constantly, and again, this is from somebody who hasn't played a lot of these games, so some of this is probably not new, but I was constantly blown away by just how many things are tied to each other. Like I felt like I just could have like one of those like crime maps with all the red lines drawing everywhere.
If you can draw one of those and keep it on track, maybe you could develop a game like Disco. Yeah,
no, that's good. And also, like, I'm glad you mentioned that. This is their first game. Like, this is, you know, a bunch of amateur, that's in quotes, because I don't know, they might have made other projects before, but as a studio, this is their first game, and I really think they hit it out of the park.
That's cool. This is like a really simple question about what sounds like a game with a lot of complexity, but how long is it? Because like you'd say like single block
time
and like
moves forward and stuff like that.
It's like single city block and like 12 NPCs. I'm like, is this like a very, very small in scope kind of thing?
My final time was about 30 hours.
Okay. So they do a lot with... Okay.
I think if you were not trying to do as many side quests as I was, just because I wanted to see as much of it as I could before Game of the Year, you could probably get it done in 20. Because like the main murder mystery, I could tell you like what happens over the arc of like 10. I could tell you in like 10 minutes. But you know, it's really about all these other things that sometimes have nothing to do with the end case. Like I helped an elderly couple find a new species of bug. And that was like I spent so much time on that quest just because I was interested in these characters.
Does it feel like the arc of the plot is what it is, and like the sequence of events is going to be the same every time? Or are you influencing the actual path of the storyline very directly, or is it more about around the edges? Or is it even easy to tell?
I mean, like
I'm wondering if you can do the whole like, oh, I finished the game in an hour because I made this one choice at the beginning that branched off this way, or if it's just kind of the story is the story.
You need to. Certain things are locked behind number of days. Like after 2 days in, kind of a new area opens up, and that kind of influences. So like you could definitely, and there's ways to like manually skip time. Like if you buy a book and read it on the bench, that's how you can like skip time without talking to people.
So you talk about it taking place over the course of like 4 days. If I were to just sit on a bench and read a book, would the game end?
That's a great question.
That's kind of the stuff I'm wondering about. If there are like very unconventional ways to kind of quote unquote finish it.
Yeah, I bet that there are. It's also tough to talk about spoilers, but like you can influence like if certain characters live or die, that kind of stuff more than like the ultimate outcome of what is going on.
Like presumably, and I guess maybe this isn't even set in stone, but you would think that like what happened is what happened, and it's just a matter of your perception of the case and what you bring to it to solve it or not solve it or whatever. I would. That's what I would think how it would wrap up.
And now that you mention it, I was talking to somebody else who also finished the game, and we were talking about kind of like the last hour or so of it, and like the dialogue that this person was getting was like 50% the same as what I was getting, and it was not just meaningless dialogue of like, I hate you, you commie, and instead of like, I hate you, you fascist, or whatever. Yeah. Like it was major kind of like plot points and motives and stuff like that seemed completely and wildly different. So what might happen might be the same, but like how you get there is totally different.
Sure. That makes sense.
Also just like some video gamey stuff. I really like the look of it, like hand painted kind of look of all the character portraits. Everyone looks messed up, which is great because it's a very messed up place. Like it's no one's having a good time, and the people who are having a good time are crazy high on drugs. The music really gets to me. Like it's very subtle. It's very kind of soft, but it's the same song you keep hearing as you're running around the city, and you start to tie it to locations and stuff. It's very noir influenced, I would say. I had a blast with it, and it makes me like, it's one of those, it's the game for me that's kind of opened me up to the genre as a whole. Like hearing about Planescape Torment and hearing about these other games, I'm like, sure, should I go back and seek some of these out? Because I've really never, I'm like, have like, I want to play a game where I'm a cool guy with a cool gun and shoot guys. And like those games aren't that
they
really.
Have those games.
They have those games, and I love those games.
Yeah. Yeah, it's, Planescape, that came out at such a weird time for me because like the staffs were separated between PC and console, so we had like half the office fucking losing their shit about Planescape Torment, while the other half of the office was just like, play what? Okay, whatever. I got work to do over here. I don't have time to even care about.
Wasn't that kind of around the end of that Infinity Engine, like Black Isle the Bioware kind of?
It was kind of
the first wave of that stuff
getting there. Yeah,
when that stuff was tapering off.
But that was they were talking about that game nonstop on the PC side for sure.
I think they called it one of the greatest games of all time.
I believe they did,
if I remember.
Yeah.
Whatever. I mean, this is message board chatter. I can't speak to this directly, but I feel like I've seen a number of people say this game sort of like fulfills the potential of what they were trying to do with that thing. So
of Planescape,
yeah. So like, I mean, the implications seem to be like, if you went back and played that is probably a more rudimentary form of what you have just seen.
Yeah.
So it might be more of a kind of a historical lesson of like, oh, this is where this kind of thing started, rather than this is another fully formed example of that.
Totally.
But I could be wrong about that, but that's the impression that I've gotten.
But at least now I'm open to the genre, a lot more open to the genre than I was previously. And I mean, like I kind of talked around this, but the writing is just so good. It's at times very funny. It's at times very sad. Like, kind of every night when you go to bed, you have a conversation with yourself, and some of that stuff is like really eye-opening. And like, this is going to sound cheesy, but like so one of the thoughts I got, those thoughts I talked about earlier for internalizing, you get one called like Sorry Cop, and it's for like apologizing a bunch. It's like, if you say you're sorry this many times, like choose the dialogue. Yeah. And sometimes like the reason this works and the reason I think that there's so many thoughts is like sometimes you have like 8 responses to a question. Like, and some of them are tied to skill checks and some of them are generic ones that you could always say. But like, if you apologize too many times, you get this sorry cop thing, and then you like basically start taking damage if you apologize. And it's just like, and it's like, stop feeling so sorry for yourself. It's kind of the like, there's like a paragraph of text tied to each of these thoughts. And that's kind of the summation of that one is like, you're doing the best you can. Like, and it's something that I was like thinking about in my real life because I had seen it in the game. I'm like, I do apologize a lot when I don't actually mean it. I should try and save apologies to be like real things, instead of like just a blanket kind of like, oh, I was in your way. Sorry, sort of stuff. Like the game affected me outside of the game in a way that like few games do. I feel like a couple games every year like will get me thinking about life or whatever outside like Nier or whatever.
And now you're completely unapologetic.
And now will never say sorry.
That's right.
I will never apologize, and I'm a better person for it.
Also, he's super high on drugs.
That's
yeah. I mean, that was.
Yeah.
I gotta go.
All right.
Go do drugs.
What other games y'all got? Anything?
Backlog stuff.
Yeah.
I've been having a great time with Jedi Fallen Order.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How deep in are you?
I'm on Kashyyyk
Okay.
right now.
First time, second time?
First time, I guess.
Kind of bounce around between the planets, back and forth a lot.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I went through one planet before that, and I haven't had any of the technical hiccups that other people are.
You're on PC?
Yeah, I'm on PC.
That seems to help somewhat.
That's,
But you play some of it on
better.
PC too.
I played on PC and it was just hitchy as hell.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm not
I also had some of those problems. For sure. That game's fun though. It's cool.
Yeah, you can. It wears its Dark Souls stuff on its sleeve, for sure. But it's definitely different enough to where it's not simply a clone.
It's kind of I don't know. It's sort of Dark Souls-y for the masses. It's not quite as punishing.
Yeah. Oh, definitely.
I think, but also not quite as elegant. But
especially
enough of that.
like it's like not level design, but like enemy placement and such. A lot of it's kind of nonsensical.
A little bit.
Yeah.
Although I am surprised how hard that game. I mean, whatever. It's got difficult. It's got a story mode difficulty if you need it. But like even on the default, the next one up from story, like pretty tough by the end of the game. Like,
really?
Kind of surprised for something like Star Wars that's probably going to sell to.
Right.
In fact, it has. Like they just put out a press release today saying like, it's EA's biggest Star Wars launch ever and stuff. So like. I was actually a little impressed that they kind of go as far as they do with some of the Dark Souls-iness of it.
Right.
Like, just in terms of demanding, like, dodge and parry timing and stuff toward the end.
I like that. Yeah, you can actually increase, like, the parry timing and stuff, and that's tied into the difficulty.
Yeah.
That's got interesting take.
Yeah.
For sure. No,
It's nice that they expose that and just say, like, here's exactly what the difficulty settings will do in terms of, like, your parry window and damage and that sort of stuff. I thought that was cool.
Yeah.
Spiders suck.
The poison things.
Fucking suck.
Yeah, those things
you can kill them in like one hit. Like,
sometimes it'll give you
parry,
that.
but
Yeah.
I haven't quite figured it out yet, but I'll get there.
You've got a long ways to go. Like that
Yeah.
game, there's a lot of meat to that game. Like it is surprisingly long and it finishes super strong. So
Cool.
Yeah.
I don't think they've patched it yet. Have you seen?
So the one
I don't
patch-
think the PC version is patched since launch day.
I wonder if maybe they had already updated that one by the time it came out. Consoles have pulled one more patch.
Actually, I should check. I should launch Origin and check because the way
that
the
thing
way
is
it's on Steam is weird.
Yeah.
It's like it just launches the Origin client with the store disabled.
Is that what it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Because when I installed and ran that game through Steam for the first time, it installed like an Origin thin client.
Right.
Is how they refer to it.
So that is what I think they call the regular, or I think you're downloading real ass Origin.
Okay.
Because I think
So I'm not clear
the real
if-
downloader for Origin, I think it's just called Origin Thin Setup EXE.
I'm not clear if that installed over my existing Origin client that I already had installed, or if there are two separate installs now.
I think it's a single install.
Okay.
I'd have to go back and check. But either way,
like, does the game still update through Steam, or what's the deal?
I don't know.
Okay.
Because
I've got it on
I've not
Origin.
launched Origin because why wouldn't it? But I should launch Origin and see if it patches. Maybe they maintain their patches through there.
It has.
There's a lot of games that have external launchers like Warframe or stuff like that. Like you will launch Warframe
and then it'll start updating.
and then it'll be like checking for a patch because it has its own launcher and loader and all that other stuff.
Yeah. That game has gotten one patch post-release on Xbox and PS4.
Then maybe it is patched.
I fired up the PS4 version a little bit after that patch, and I couldn't tell a huge. It seemed like it was maybe a little bit smoother, but
Performance-wise?
definitely still had some hitching stuff.
Yeah.
Poopy.
It's a cool game though. Like I hope they continue to bang away at it.
Yeah, I was pleasantly surprised, I guess. Yeah, and that they took the Dark Souls approach, but it is kind of like you said for the masses. It's kind of refreshing that's kind of that it can appeal to.
Yeah.
How many headlines or decks do you think have been written about that game that just straight up say Darth Souls?
Oh, my God.
Not enough.
Don't think I've seen it at all.
All right.
We could fix that.
Yeah,
I don't want to. If people
have the ability.
avoided the temptation, then I want to keep it that way because
Has anybody here in this room seen a single iteration of that phrase?
No.
man, what the fuck are people doing out there?
We're gonna.
Who's out there writing headlines and
We need to
shit
go one
that they're
layer
not?
deeper. Monmarth Souls.
Okay, love it.
I'll turn the podcast off. We'll write an article.
Yeah,
and then
okay.
We'll come back on.
Headline: Darth Souls.
If people are not fucking delving into that world of garbage to write their fucking heads and decks anymore, then what are we even doing?
We do have our own outlets for this sort of. If you want to put it out into the world,
I
you want to put it out into the universe.
it lives
Just
now.
get it out there. Get it. I want it out of here specifically.
That's right. Hashtag Darth Souls. Join the conversation.
Your empathy stat is going to chime in and being like, "What are you doing?
Just get it away from me.
What kind of damage to the world are you?"
Do you get any results,
Oh, I
man?
know exactly what damage I do to the world every goddamn day. That's why I'm here.
Yeah. You catching up on anything?
Food fight.
Okay. Best game in 1982.
Yeah, one among the best games of 1982. No, I'm fucking around with little stuff here and there, but nothing. I played a lot of stuff already this year, so.
Anything you're meaning to catch up on, or
I do want to kind of like. I think you're reminding me that I do want to play a little bit more of Disco Elysium.
Yeah,
because I started on it and
check that
bounced
out.
off it pretty hard, and I was just like, I don't know if I want to do this. But I think actually it was finishing Outer Worlds and feeling like a little let down by it.
Yeah.
By the end, in terms of its reactivity, it's just like maybe I do want to go see a game where that is literally the thing they do.
Yeah, I remember those two games came out around the same
yeah,
time,
yeah,
and I remember
yeah.
people who played Disco first and then Outer Worlds were just like, dude, what the fuck?
Yeah, absolutely.
I tried to pick that game back up over the weekend, and like I'm having a hard time coming back to it.
Outer Worlds?
Yeah, somehow.
Yeah, I am too,
Like
surprisingly.
I like the game. It's not,
Yeah.
but like
The combat gets so is
I've
so
actually
rudimentary
haven't
and
fought anything
easy.
since I
Okay,
loaded
yeah.
it back up. I just went around talking
It's
to
like
people.
potato chips, right? It's just like, oh, this is good.
Well, I got to a point late game with it where I just had so many quests that were just I need to go here, talk to a thing, go here, talk to a thing, and just like wrap up all this stuff. And I started doing it, and I was playing on PS4. And, like the load times were just enough to where it's like, man, this is kind of a hassle going and doing this. So like there were some companion quests and stuff that all I had to do was go probably talk my way through the end of it, and it would be done. But I was like, nah, I'm just gonna go finish the game.
really?
Like I just got to a point where it's like I like these companions just fine and would be interested in seeing their story play out, but let's just wrap it up.
Did you guys stick with a particular loadout of companions?
For the back half of the
mixing it up a
game,
lot.
it was pretty much Ellie and
That's
Vicar
cool.
Max for me because of where you are, because of Ellie's background and what she has to say about being in Byzantium and all
That's kind of how
stuff.
I've been tailoring
Yeah,
it
it
too.
became like, okay, I'm spending so much time here working on these quests that having her there was actually helpful
That makes sense.
or interesting because she would chime in with,
Yeah, you get
with
enough,
cool
like,
stuff to say.
custom dialogue with people who know the area and
yeah,
stuff.
I love that part of it.
And so that
Yeah.
kind of took the other companions off the table. Like I didn't use the robot once. I just
Really?
Didn't,
Same.
didn't-
Oh, dude,
felt-
his
never felt the need
combat
to.
barks are so good. Though.
Yeah, like when you were using
He's
them in
just
the quick
yelling
look, I was
about
like, that's
cleaning all the
fun.
time.
But like combat's not that game, Like that's not. You played
yeah.
on hard, so you got
Yeah.
a slightly different experience. But
Yeah.
like on normal, it was like I found that hammer on
Everything became
Groundbreaker.
trivial. Yeah.
Did you see?
Leveled it the fuck up.
They patched the game. The first post-release patch came out a few days ago.
Yeah.
The hammer was bugged.
Oh no!
They were scaling damage exponentially instead of linearly on that hammer.
Like that was the first science weapon I got. It was one of
Yeah.
the first things I did when I got to Groundbreaker, and
Yeah.
it does so much fucking damage that I one-shotted my way through the rest of the game.
Apparently, that is no longer the case.
Fuck. I was wondering because like when you look at the DPS on it and most of the other science weapons, it's like it does 133 DPS, and I'm like, I don't know what the fuck is procking every time I use this thing, but
Yeah.
I'm hitting people for 1,200.
Wow.
And okay,
No longer, apparently.
well, that's I'm not sure how I feel about that, honestly, because like on one hand, I'm like, oh, well, it'd be nice to use more variety in combat, but also like, you know, when I would pick up a new gun, I would try it and then be like, I don't know that I love this.
Yeah.
I don't know that I love the shooting in this.
I'm really hard in melee in that game. I'm like pretty spec'd just for two-handed melee. And
well, unpatch the game and use that hammer because it's the best two-handed melee you'll ever see.
I mean, the shooting's okay. Like, it's fine. You know,
fine.
the more
It's
points you put into shooting, the better you get at it and stuff.
No,
but like,
it's like, I'm not saying like I was bad at the shooting or whatever. It just wasn't engaging.
Yeah.
It was
I prefer VATS.
was the issue.
Really?
I
like this better.
I think the
this
TTD stuff is...
This is a little more free form. I don't feel like I'm just like VATS feels like I'm just cycling through menu choices. Really,
VATS feels like someone got up too close to me and I'm like, oh fuck, and I hit the button and pointed at their head and pulled the trigger.
Or
3
you're
times
trying to scout out dudes by hammering that button while you're wandering, and then you find somebody. That's what I miss about VATS mostly is like an easy enemy locator.
Sure.
I like the combat because I've spec toward kind of refilling that time dilation meter as I do shit. So like,
I just never used it.
I do like the crippling aspect of it, where like
that's
you
what
a
it is.
Conceptually, it's really cool. I just never had much need for it.
Yeah.
Especially hearing it the fucking Abrams bug. I was like, why would anyone use anything else? I'm just like clubbing this shit to death.
Yeah.
Like, fuck. No. Great. Well, finished that.
I don't know, man. It's you guys have a hard time coming back to stuff after like.
Oh yeah,
it depends on the game. So that was like
I could never
Outer Wilds I came back to and had to kind of start over.
I also started Outer Wilds over this weekend.
And starting it over just kind of reminded me of just like, oh, I didn't much care for this. I stopped for a reason.
I had a real hard kind of hill to climb with that game too. I've first 3-4 hours, even the second time through, I was like, I don't know if I can stick with this. And then I hit a point where I was like, all right, now I think I know what's going on
Finally
here. And I'm like,
engaged,
there's enough incredibly inventive stuff in this that I've got to see the rest of it.
I just never none of that stuff grabbed me at all.
There's some shit in there that you would probably be super into, but you really have to dig for it. Jan's furrowing his brow over there. Like I could throw out some examples, but it's just like it's giving away the cool shit in the game.
I also think like it being, you know, Majora's Mask in some ways.
That's it.
Is also disgusting.
I think it's God. Actually, what am I trying to?
Man. Why didn't I put that together?
What am I trying to compare it to? It's not that. There's something else where like, what game am I thinking of? Like learning the rhythms of that 22-minute cycle.
Yeah,
actually, because certain things happen kind of on timers, and learning when things are going to be are happening and like sort of anticipating. Am I just describing Majora's Mask here? Kind of. But like that's part of the appeal of like getting a feel for that game and knowing when things are going to happen and being able to get ahead of them and like make things happen and stuff.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, I was surprised by how much I enjoyed coming back to Sekiro. I thought a Souls game, you know, I would have a really hard time just like getting back in, especially not having played since probably like April, because that game came out in March. But you know, I took half a day to kind of just like run through a zone a couple times just to like fight some enemies. And then I beat the Corrupted Monk. I beat the Guardian Ape on my like third, or the Headless Ape on my third try. And these are bosses that caused me to quit the game because I was not getting past them. Sometimes you can come back to a game fresh and it's just like, I really thought it'd be impossible with a From game, especially. But
I feel like that's definitely the case for me for like puzzle oriented games or something like that.
Yeah.
Like you hit that wall and you're just like, I need to sleep and come back and, you know, I'll have a different perspective on it and just like blow through like 3 puzzles that I was stuck on or something like that. But it's usually not. It's usually not action. It's usually not combat.
Yeah.
Like the longer I am away from a game,
I was like using the prosthetic tools more because I had gotten so set in my like I only use the firecracker in this, and now I'm like because I had to relearn what everything did, so it's all fresh in my mind.
Yeah, that's cool.
I know Outer Worlds. I stopped at the beginning of Monarch, and then I played 35 hours of Death Stranding, and then all of Jedi Fallen Order, and all of Control, and half of Outer Wilds.
You're definitely
and
not.
Then tried to come back to it, and I'm like,
you're
what the
definitely
fuck
not
is going
the first
on?
person I've seen say Monarch drags for them.
Well, I didn't even really get into it,
but like getting, but that like once you like getting into it, it's kind of like I feel like that's been
kind of a bummer,
a stopping point for people. And I didn't mind Monarch so much, but it is the bulk of that game, or it. Maybe it's not the bulk of that game in terms of hour count, but in terms of like the meatiest area for you to do stuff in and have a big impact on. I feel like that is the game's middle chapter where it is at its most open or whatever, and there's just a lot of shit to do there. and multiple factions, to work with and work against and all that stuff, and a peaceful solution if you have leveled up your shit the right way. And so I feel like that game is that game at its most that game.
Okay.
Which is already a game that is extremely game.
Yeah, it is absolutely that game. And so seeing people get to that area and be like, man, I just cannot. I get it, because you can spend a fuckload of time there.
Yeah.
And it's not always the best stuff.
I think part of the issue for me is that the vibe has gone from feeling kind of like charming in a nostalgic way to just sort of bland.
Yeah,
like
I get that.
There's something about like
anti-capital, the whole like
no,
corporation
I'm
stuff.
talking about the more mechanical way the game is presented.
Sure,
like the way that like the real like clean zoom in on NPCs and like the sort of sedate way that everybody talks and like how all the NPCs behave just sort of like automatons. It's like basically the Bethesda thing, It's like that feeling of like this is an elaborate world that feels like everybody is just on a wind-up spree.
Everyone's either smirking or scowling.
It's like it's like an enormous world full of wind-up toys walking around doing their thing.
That's
and
that
like,
game. Yeah,
and well, that's what I mean. And like when I first played that game, I was like, oh, I like this game's funny and like I'm enjoying it, and it reminds me of those games. And then I played like Star Wars and Control are both games where the story was, I was just like dying to see what was going to happen and could not stop playing.
Yeah.
And like Outer Wilds and Death Stranding are both super unconventional and have a lot of bizarre ideas that are kind of cool to see. And then going back to this, and it's just like,
no, that makes sense.
Like,
I mean,
this is like I don't
like it's tight.
I hate to use the word lifeless, but like there's kind of that quality to it compared to those other games.
Yeah.
I'm
Stuff
sure
feels very I was gonna, binary is maybe not the word, because sometimes there are 3 choices instead of 2, but
you can like see
you see it. You see the
lines.
lines. Yeah, you could draw the crime. You could draw the crime pins for that game in a lot of spots for sure.
I think I'm having a hard time coming
like
back
you see
to
the diamond,
and
that's why I talk about
terms.
that's why I talk about the end of the game as feeling like I've seen most of it, is because it does that diamond thing of it fans out, then you get to Monarch and it's at its widest, and then it felt like everything after that was just driving to the point of just like, okay, you're going to get to the ending, and it'll be a little different depending on some shit you do, and there might be a stat check that leads to a wildly different thing, but like you certainly make choices about a good or a bad thing.
That's a big
but it comes
Vegas
down
thing.
to like literally like you get to a point where it's like, what are you going to do? You're going to turn these people over to this faction or this faction,
Right. Like New Vegas always ends with you ruling the wasteland. Like that's always the end of that game. But like what you do and kind of like the 3 lines of text you get after you do it are different.
Yeah. And the ending is exactly what you think it's going to be based on what all those Bethesda games or what the Fallout games typically did.
Fight a dragon.
Yeah, you shot at a dragon.
String all your choices together,
pretty much
in a monologue.
Yeah, exactly. But it's well done. Like I still think there's value in a tight version of that experience. That was functional, maybe a little too functional in the case of that fucking hammer. But
I'm with you on that.
Yeah.
When I saw a lot of people saying like, "Oh, this is just more of that," like
it's like no.
It made me think about
less of that in some ways, but that's kind of okay.
But also like consider what that has been for the last several years. Like you've got like every
really good version.
Like exactly.
That,
like every iteration of that has either been super buggy or like maybe not written as well as it used to be, or like with way less ambitious quest design than it used to have.
4.
Totally, that's what I mean.
I would take this game. I would take Outer Worlds over Fallout 4
right.
in a
fucking
second.
8 days a week.
That's kind of why I was into this. It's like, okay, I'm okay with them making one of these that just to prove they can do it on their own and like execute it well. But
And their next game's wildly different, which is exciting.
Yeah. But also, now that they're under the Microsoft umbrella, I hope this team, assuming they do another one like this, tries to take the concept way further.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
I think I just need to re-engage with this game on its own terms.
Yeah.
To get back into it, but it's been
I think your tale of stopping it and then playing like 5 other games that are like either
I have done fucking nothing but play video games for like 5 straight weeks,
and like games with like really amazing stories or like you said, like really like interesting mechanics.
Oh,
and
Brad,
stuff like
Brad,
that.
I have great news.
I fucking dreamed that I was in space last night. I can't remember what I was doing. I was like at the dentist or something, but it was in space.
Space
I was upside down on the ceiling because of anti-gravity crystals.
Yep.
Yeah.
In a dentist chair or at the airport or something.
Or at the
I've been playing too many games.
Brad, you said you like video
sounding
games.
like Disco Elysium.
I have great news.
Yeah.
The new Dota patch dropped this morning right before we started here. There's 64 new items.
I understand you don't have to pay for wards anymore.
You don't have to pay for wards. Everyone gets their own courier, Brad.
Oh man, we should go to break.
You
Jan,
can go to level 30 now.
Jan, if you play.
Just a quick 2 notes on Pokemon. I'm still fucking playing it, and I can't fucking escape it.
Are you abusing the raids?
I am. I
Jan,
totally
how
am.
could you?
Whatever. Fuck the sanctity of Pokemon. Save scum the shit out of it.
It's not just your life you're ruining the 3 other people who are trying to join these poor raids and can't connect to your game because you're...
It's okay. I'm not defending Dexit or anything, but it is very refreshing to see a bunch of different Pokemon, or not the same couple Pokemon, in competitive play, because if I would go into like Pokemon Showdown, which is like a tool VGC players use to dole out stats and shit like that, do battles and whatnot.
And that's like a bootleg unofficial. You can play online.
Yeah, and
fake Pokemon
with like rule sets, and like you just see all the stats super transparent and shit.
Yeah.
But it's neat not seeing the same like 5 Pokemon constantly stalling out battles, and now like you're seeing a bunch of like some of the new weirder Gen 8 Pokemon. And it's like, oh, okay, I can fuck with that. All right, Sylveon with Mystical Fire? Wild. The second point is the fossil type Pokemon, or the fossil prehistoric Pokemon. In previous games, you'd find a fossil in like a cave, or an NPC would give it to you. Go to another NPC, revive it, and be like, oh, that's a pterodactyl, or like, oh, that's like a
Kabuto.
Kabuto.
Is Cubone count?
No.
He's got a bone.
He's
got a helmet, a bone.
I mean, he's got a lot of bones inside of him too.
What?
So like letter Q dash bone, or is it CU?
No,
bone?
CU.
Okay.
Isn't that helmet like the bone of his
mother?
mother?
It's the saddest Pokemon.
Pretty metal,
that's-
though.
Yeah, all right.
Yeah. There's another form where he's like a ghost, and like his
my
bones
God.
are like on fire.
Oh, sorry. So we can verify that he has other bones.
Yeah, he has other bones.
Okay, all right.
But what they do in this game is a little odd, because instead of reviving one fossil, they'll make you like, hey, pick this one and then another one, and then we'll just slap them together and see what comes up. And the combinations look terrible, but I love them all. Specifically, Dracovish as like the head of I think a fish, and then like the bottom half of a dragon. It looks terrible. The most broken Pokemon in the game right now in competitive. It's great. I love him. He's my best friend. That's
Fantastic.
I'm really gonna regret asking this, but what is the D?
I think like Draco is probably like dragon.
Oh, I'm sorry that I shouldn't. The D in Dexit.
Oh,
Pokedex.
Pokedex.
God damn it. Great.
You shouldn't.
Dracovish.
You're right. You shouldn't have.
Sinistea, also fantastic.
Oh, is that the Pokemon you can drink?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, what?
He has an ability that makes everyone eat their berries because it's tea time.
Oh.
That does sound nice.
FCC guy is going to come in here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wouldn't blame them.
We gotta go eat some berries.
You talk about eating berries in here.
It's not safe for podcasts. All right. How about we roll into a break then before we come back and talk about, I don't know, something else.
Great.
Sure.
Why do you need State Farm renter's insurance? Because it helps protect the stuff landlords don't, like your furniture that gets drenched by a broken pipe, or when a burglar makes off with your new laptop. When you add it all up, your stuff's probably worth more than you think. But in the event of a burglary, fire, or water to your belongings from a broken pipe, landlords won't cover your loss. For pennies a day, you can make sure your stuff's protected with State Farm renter's insurance. And with more than 19,000 agents across the U.S., it's easy to find one close by, because when it comes to renter's insurance, State Farm agents are ready to help. Find an agent or get a quote at statefarm.com. That's statefarm.com. It's time to turn that dream into a reality. That's right. Are you going to go into the year 2020 still not realizing your dreams? It's time to get it going, and Squarespace makes it easier than ever to launch your passion project. It doesn't matter what you're doing. You're looking to start a new business, showcase your work, publish some content, sell some stuff. Squarespace is the tool for you. Squarespace has beautiful templates created by world-class designers and the ability to customize just about anything with only a few clicks. That's right, you can easily make a beautiful website all by yourself. Squarespace's powerful e-commerce functionality lets you sell anything online, and analytics help grow your site in real time. It's all optimized for mobile, right out of the box. There's nothing to patch, there's nothing to upgrade, ever. They even make buying domains simple. You'll get the help you need with Squarespace's 24/7 award-winning customer support. Hey, Squarespace empowers millions of people to turn great ideas into something real. Designers, lawyers, artists, businesses and stuff like that. They're all using Squarespace to make it happen for them. And maybe you should too. Head over to squarespace.com/bombcast for a free trial. And when you're ready to launch, use the offer code BOMBCAST to save 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain. That's squarespace.com/bombcast, and the offer code, it's BOMBCAST.
All right, the time is here.
All right.
You ready to talk about that, G-Man?
Trying to buy this. We're all buying Steam controllers.
That's
The
right.
time is
Already
here.
bought.
I already bought mine.
Done.
I'm serious about that battery door. Can you guys give me a battery door?
How much was it?
It was $1.
$1?
$1.
Oh, I should have gotten it.
It's a convenient place to store your wireless dongle.
Jeff, I'll buy your Steam controller for $1.
Let me sit it under a table for a month or two, and then I'll definitely. Okay, I agree to the terms of this.
Which payment method are you choosing?
I was trying to use PayPal.
Yeah, that's what I
and the whole
use.
thing
That'll
broke,
save you.
and
Took a couple tries when I got it through.
I accidentally bought a Steam controller.
Yay!
And you paid like twice as much as the Steam controller in shipping, didn't you?
Yay!
Yeah, but I had some Steam wallet balance.
Oh, wow.
So that knocked a good dollar and change off of it.
Yeah.
Oh, man, I should have sold
That's
that.
a free battery door right there.
I know. Yeah, that's true.
I should have sold that golden Dota courier. I could have bought
Yeah,
a few dozen Steam controllers.
that's right. Then you would have been.
And then bought them
Bowling.
out.
But
I
now
think is
with the
what they
new
say.
patch, you can play the new. Brad, they added these outposts, right? The secret shop is gone,
Wait,
and now
what?
there's outposts that you can capture, and you
What?
can TP to them, and they give you vision, and you fight at them, and they give you experience.
If someone
Oh my
TPs your
goodness.
outpost, you are honor bound to destroy them.
So you capture points now?
There's a king of the. It opens at 10 minutes.
Is Dota just Battlefield now?
Yes.
dude. Yes.
Huh.
It runs in the Frostbite engine.
What else did they What?
We'll talk after this.
Man.
I can't even. It happened like a half hour before this podcast. I was just reading patch notes.
Every
during the break.
time they were like, "Fuck it, we've got a Half-Life now." While no one's looking at Dota, change everything.
Every time
More
I-
like Dota 3, am I right?
There was already Dota. That was
Can I-
7.0. Now it's Dota 4.
No,
Every time it's Dota patch day and I try to front like fuck Dota, like I immediately hear like three things and I'm like, wait,
I
what?
saw Matt Kessler
What?
tweeting about Dota. You know it's real.
Yep. The hats are back.
the hats never left.
know-
You left the hats.
That's true.
Let me tell you about these arcanas.
And I'm better for it.
Invoker's a child.
You know what? Yeah, is he still nude?
Nude?
Wasn't nude Invoker a thing?
This is the first I'm hearing about it, but I'd love to hear
I thought
more.
they took all of his items and outfits away or something.
Is that why he's nude?
I thought.
I don't know about
What
nude
did I-
Invoker.
A whole
maybe
new
I was
meaning to BKB, am I right? Up top, hit me. Yeah. Ow, ow, ow.
Maybe I was thinking about Axe.
Oh yeah,
Was
well,
Axe
they took his
nude?
axe away,
Okay. Of course, Axe
and
is
then
kind of,
yeah,
what is Axe without his axe?
Just like a dude.
Yeah.
it's John St. John. He's the voice of Axe.
BYO Axe.
Best known as the voice of Axe.
That's right.
Do you
His
think,
most-
with the popularity of Dota 2, do you think more people have heard John St. John as Axe or as Duke Nukem?
Oh,
in the
Worldwide
la-
overall time.
Definitely.
overall time?
Definitely Axe.
Yeah.
Axe.
Easily.
I mean, not every game is going to have an axe in it.
I mean that viral video of Duke Nukem on Vent, it probably has several million views.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, but that's not
That's not going to count. I'm saying just from the games.
okay.
But also, that viral video inspired a generation to play Duke Nukem. We can count on that. And that much is definitely true.
That's true. And that's the news.
I got to say, when you listen to Axe talk, I've tried to listen for the Duke, and I don't hear. You don't
He
really
just
hear
has
it.
the same bravado, but the voice isn't
It's
there.
like surprising that there's no Duke in Axe.
He's a good voice actor.
Yeah, amazingly enough.
Hey, Duke's voice is like, I mean, it's cheesy, but it's definitely iconic.
techie bastards are going to pay for shooting up my Roshan.
Mining.
Blew up my damn racks.
Let's talk about another Valve.
I'm here to kick ass and buy wards, but wards don't cost any gold anymore.
Half-Life.
Half-Life Alyx.
Ah,
They announced
Half-Life 3. Half-Life 3.
It's more like Half-Life 1.5. Am I right? Boom.
Boom.
So
Boom,
th-
headshot.
they had said it last week
Yeah.
that they were going to say it.
Yes, as promised, they revealed Half-Life Alyx with a decently long trailer.
Yeah.
And a bunch of details about how you're going to play it.
You're talking about that Artifact trailer, right?
Yeah.
What did everybody think of that trailer?
The Artifact trailer.
Yeah, that one.
That's good.
It's
It
cool.
reminded me about
They didn't actually.
Yes,
get
the
something out
website
about Artifact, did they?
halflife.com. You click on the watched Half-Life Alyx trailer and it played an Artifact trailer.
Oh, was that just a brief?
for like 5 minutes, 10
yeah.
minutes after 10.
Man.
That's pretty good.
Wow. Huh. Okay.
Now, how many people do you think immediately went and downloaded Artifact
You
after watching
can't.
that? Can you not get into Artifact anymore?
They took it down. It's like temporarily.
Oh,
they're
wow.
like, we're gonna come back to
you can't
this.
buy it?
I thought it was like, hey, we're just not going to update. I
think they
figured
were
it was
like
still there.
went
Like, hey, if you want to
hard
play
on-
this, you super
Hang
can.
on,
But
hang
I don't even
on.
know if you can play Artifact. Should go to play Artifact.
No, you can still buy it.
Okay.
Okay.
I wonder if you can even launch it though. Brad, looks like you have to buy Artifact.
If you can buy it, you can launch it.
Is that your promise to the American
Yes,
people?
that's
I'm
right.
Actually,
2 artifacts in every pot.
I don't see any messaging on the store page for Artifact about like, hey, we're rebuilding this game.
Oh no.
Oh, really?
I would think,
They did. It's called Dota Auto Chess.
whatever. I mean, you're
Yeah.
getting what is being advertised, I suppose, if you still pay for Artifact at this point. Half-Life Alyx, on the other hand, is going to run you. Let me double check.
$60, anywhere from $0 to $60.
Okay, so it is. I had seen that it was 54, but I wanted to make sure that was on sale.
Yeah.
It is in fact on sale. It will be $60 when it comes out. But,
It says
Unless
a
you own
full-
any piece of the Valve Index stuff, and then it will be $0.
you get the actual game for free.
Yes.
With the Index. Okay,
if
maybe
you
they
own
said
an
that
Index,
already.
or if you just bought the controllers, the
Yeah.
Index controllers, you will still get it for
Oh,
free.
wow.
Okay.
There. So give them $1,000, and they will give
But
you.
do the Index controllers work with anything besides the Index?
Yes, you can use them with a Vive.
Okay.
Because it's just they're just
Oh, they're using
controllers.
the
They
same-
use
the same lighthouse,
PlayStation
same
style
lighthouse,
stuff.
yeah.
Like it's
Right.
the same
I forgot.
style of stuff.
I forgot about that whole aspect of that, which
Yes.
is strange.
I mean, it makes sense. They say in the trailer, I think, or at the website, that this is a full length game. Like this is a
Yeah, and I think they maybe clarified or like Keeley clarified because he's been talking to them about it for the story he's doing or
I
something.
think that the actual video of that interview went up that got leaked last week.
Yeah.
So that stuff's out
So
there.
I think they talk about that in terms of like, hey, it's like, dozens of hours,
Sure.
I don't know the exact verbiage, but they at least tried to provide some clarity around what full length VR experience means because
I had forgotten that if you bought an Index, you get this game for free, but you also get Half-Life Alyx Steam VR home space.
ooh,
Anybody?
okay,
Alternate-
the Steam
alternate-
VR home space stuff is not bad.
No, I know
for
it's
what
cool.
it is.
It's cool. Like another background for that would be kind of neat.
Hang out with
How about-
Dr. Kleiner
How about alternate gun skins
Yeah.
to embellish Alex's arsenal?
Different gloves.
and help you launder
Or
mob
a
money.
special-
Yeah, I love gun skins.
Well, speaking of which, you're in luck. Special Half-Life Alyx themed content for Counter-Strike Global Offensive.
All right.
I don't know. It's just kind of weird to me to see Valve dip into
And
this.
iPod headphones for TFC.
Like seeing them dip into this, like, hey, people who bought this thing get all these bonus
Yeah.
digital goodies is like so un-Valve-like to me.
No, come on. Like they did that the other way though. It was always like, hey, if you buy this game, pre-order this game and you will get it was TF2 items forever. It was like Salmon Max TF2
Yeah.
items. Like if you buy
That's
Salmon Max
true.
on Steam, you
Yeah.
get Sam's gun
Sure.
which I have. You want to hit me up. You want to buy it for $5,000.
Yeah.
I'll buy for $1.
No.
I'll buy it for a Steam
But
controller.
I mean,
I
at this
tried
point,
that on Jeff once and it worked, and I've been trying it ever since.
at this point, it just feels so like, hey, buy the $100 edition of Forza and get this, and this. Like it's
Yeah.
kind of feels like that, but whatever.
And it makes sense for trying to get people back into like Counter-Strike specifically, which just had its huge like overhaul patch kind of. I don't know exactly what happened, but I know Counter-Strike players were going wild
There was
about it.
there's a big patch. It was weird. I like the other day I was like, I'm going to play some Counter-Strike, and I don't know why, but I loaded it up and it was like vastly different, and like they launched their operations, and you buy the operation and you can get stuff and get access to a cool coin to put on your profile and some other shit like that. Some actual stuff. But they've redesigned like characters and stuff. I want to say it is the first female Counter-Strike model is somewhere in there, but you might have to play a whole bunch of that game to unlock it.
Really? Wow.
I'm not actually sure about the specifics around it, but they did characters and they are doing some stuff around that game, which
It's a third-person shooter now.
yes.
Vastly
Also, it's a
different.
MOBA.
Yes.
What did you guys think of that trailer?
The Half-Life Alyx trailer?
Yeah.
I think it's fine. I think
It looks like a VR game.
I think there's
Like
there's
the-
one specific shot in there
it
of
the shelf
like
thing?
the shelf
Yeah.
thing
Yeah.
of like
That is the thing that caught my attention.
of like
the thing
pushing
that
a
I've
thing
seen.
out of the way that you're like, okay, that's like VR is at its best, I think, when it is providing high levels of realistic interactivity. Or just something so abstract that you don't even think about that shit. But the minute you try to set it in someplace real, but you can't knock things off a table, fuck that. Like that's
Or especially if you're working in an established genre like a first-person shooter,
Exactly,
like you need to give people that little VR kind of special
Right.
sauce on top of that.
Yeah, and
Which is ammo hidden behind objects on a shelf.
yeah,
it turns out.
or even just like, hey, I'm going to push stuff out of the way to get a clear,
Yeah.
you can line of sight somewhere, or
Or
just
just like cover, like
yeah, for
move this so I
whatever
can
reason
take
you want to
cover.
move a thing around, like just being able to move shit around in a realistic
Yeah,
manner.
like that tactile feel of interacting with
Yeah.
the world is what VR does so well.
and well, when it does it well,
Oh, yeah,
you know,
yeah,
like so
yes.
many games
Can do
skimp
well.
on it,
Yeah.
in a really disappointing way.
But then, that interview clip, contains language about grabbing a clip and slamming it into a pistol and cocking the pistol. You know what I mean? It's
exactly, and like games have done that
Yes.
specific thing
VR
we've
games
seen
have been,
plenty of times.
doing that a lot.
A few games doing that.
Yeah, like realistic gun reloads in VR is not.
Yeah.
That's not that interesting.
Yeah. But it does look like they have some actual original ideas from that footage.
Totally, yeah.
I think the little health meter on your kind of weird cyber glove thing is kind of neat.
There's a lot of UI on
like,
arm
like
stuff
touches,
being
little
done.
touches like that.
That's
stuff looks
certainly
cool.
going on.
How do they portray movement in the trailer? Like,
You've got
they don't-
you've got options.
to-
Yeah, so they
can
detail, but they don't show that. They didn't really move in the trailer
yeah,
much. It's
that's-
a lot of
not a lot.
you can do
stationary-
teleport move. You can do like the warp to move stuff that is like teleport with, but you see the movement,
Right.
and you can do straight up just left stick or
Okay,
a
good.
stick to move type stuff. So
And I would assume they'll have the kind of
click turns,
stuttery,
probably
iterative turning
that's,
stuff too.
Yeah, that's. It seems like they're just providing all options.
Good.
And it doesn't necessarily seem like, at least from the image that's out there about the options, none of them seemed like, hey, we've come up with a new way to do locomotion.
Maybe it's a lot
was
to
like-
expect, but
it
I
was
was
like,
a little
hey,
bummed.
it's got all the locomotion options that all these games have now.
I was a little
Okay.
because if anybody was going to come up with a new way to move around in VR,
Well,
it was-
you'd like to think that,
you were
like,
hoping
with-
it was Valve.
with
right?
Valve having that room full of VR shit for
Yeah.
as many years as they have,
Yeah.
and like their position as like being an early company that is trying to build consumer VR and all the stuff they've done. Yeah, I think maybe had hoped that they would have had a few more new ideas on that front.
Yeah, because none of those options feel ideal to me.
Yeah,
Like
They're
the,
not.
the teleport stuff feels too limiting, but like the walking around smoothly makes me sick. Like there's not a good.
yeah. I think teleport moving's bad. I think the warp to move stuff is just teleporting with a
it's
different
just a different
presentation. It's
transition
not.
effect.
It's all right. Whatever. And yeah, the real left stick movement is usually what I go with, but that never feels well. Look, we're not going to get the multi-directional treadmill stuff. It's just not viable. VR is having a hard enough time on its own.
This ain't a holodeck, all right?
Yeah. So like even they made that thing. Like some company kickstarted some treadmill thing.
Yeah.
But it's not. That's not going to be the thing. So until they get to a point where they're tracking your feet and you're walking on a thing and all that other stuff, like it's not gonna. Movement can never feel quite right because of what they're trying to represent.
Yeah.
In VR. So it's always going to be, unless you're seated or in a cockpit. Like that's why so many cockpit style games are so perfect for VR, because you never think about like, what are my legs doing?
Right.
Except the driving game. But then you could put pedals down.
And for whatever reason, like being in a stationary thing moving around is fine for me.
Oh yeah,
Like
that makes
being in
sense.
a cockpit because you've got like
you've
that
always got something you
stationary-
can focus on with your eyes.
frame of reference. Like so that
there's some science. I don't know what it is.
the
but,
outside scenery moving around isn't a problem, where moving a person is. Yeah, we might as well talk about, they put out like kind of an infographic sort of page about, because like VR hardware is still expensive. There's still a lot of like,
It's still new. I think the
Yeah.
thing that a lot
So,
of
like-
people forget is that this shit is still has not penetrated in a mainstream sense.
Right.
It is still fly-by-night's not the word, but it still has a
kind of the Wild West still.
Yeah, it still has that Wild West feel. Or I guess like it should have almost more. I feel like the things that are kind of locking into place around like, here are some things we've learned about VR. We're going to make more things like this are kind of boring.
Yeah.
Like I wish I would like to see more chances being taken, I guess. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know what I want out of VR anymore. I've been spending more time with it over the last week because that Oculus Link stuff came out and getting back into it for the first time in a long time. It's like going like, oh yeah, I don't actually want to do any of this. None of it's that engaging anymore.
I mean, I'm excited to see what they're
totally
take on a
like what is
high production value, like kind
story driven, like that sort of stuff. There's room for something like that.
Yeah.
But like that initial pitch or the stuff we were talking about last week when the stuff that leaked out was like, you can fumble a magazine around and put it in a pistol. Like that's just like, no, that's just or fine. Yes,
it's fine. It's just, it's been done.
But it's not like that's not something VR. That I'm like, yeah, fucking sick. Yeah. I'm going to reload these guns. Like, yeah, it's a dime a dozen.
A little part of me was wondering until this trailer came out whether you would actually play as Alyx or not. Because like Alyx was such a visible presence in Half-Life 2.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Like she plays such an active role in the story, and like Half-Life is so typically bent on making the player character kind of like a non-entity.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
So to relegate her to a role where you might not actually be hearing from her much, if at all, and not seeing her interact with the world.
Yeah,
kind of. I feel like makes her kind of a nerd as a character, but I'm sure they'll handle that stuff fine. They've got this page of infographics where they're like, "Hey, it runs on every headset on the market, basically: Index, Vive, Rift, all the Windows mixed reality headsets, Oculus Quest with link cable."
Yeah, that stuff works.
Yeah,
the link stuff, it works as advertised. Like it's still a beta and it's still clunky as fuck. Like we were going to do it for UPF last week, and it took me 2 hours in the studio of fucking around just trying to get everything installed and working, and then didn't get to it. So it's like we'll mess with that stuff one of these days.
But so nobody should buy a Rift anymore. Aren't they the same price?
They are, and if the Quest get inside out tracking on the Quest.
Quest does everything.
Quest is eventually supposedly going to do finger tracking, which I don't think the Rift is going to do because it is still like that. Well, no, the Rift S is inside out. Anyway, did the image quality coming into that headset over a USB 3 cable is good, and I am going to take my Rift and put it in, well, not the Bammer, but I'm going to maybe put it in some kind of bin in my garage somewhere and go like, oh, this will come in handy someday. I don't know. But yeah, the Oculus Link stuff works. Yeah, works really well.
Yeah.
So it is a beta still, and it is clunky, and it is very specific about which cables you use. Like it is a bit of a process getting all that shit up and running, but it works.
Cool. So they say like every headset does room scale and sitting or standing. It's got all the teleport and movement stuff. Works with both finger tracking controllers and trigger-based controllers. Kind of everything on the market, which it should.
With that stuff being distributed as much as it is, they can't necessarily say like, and you have to buy our index controllers if you want to play it. That would just be a bridge too far.
Yeah, totally.
Like, you've already got enough people that are pissed off that it's a VR game at all, which I don't have much sympathy for. Like VR is obviously expensive and not for everyone, but I don't think Valve is under any obligation to...
I mean, for a time, PC gaming was expensive and not for everything. And if you think about it as them trying to push things forward,
that's the only reason they would try to make a Half-Life game at all, is if they're like, oh, we want to put this technology through its paces. Like, it's the only reason for them to return to it in the first place.
It seems very likely that you were either going to get a Half-Life VR game or no Half-Life game at all.
Exactly. So I don't like the people that are mad about that. Like on one level, like I get that you like Half-Life and don't want to have to spend money on a VR headset, but then don't play it. Like I also don't view this and well, whatever. My views on Half-Life. It's no sin. Is all I'm saying. No, but whatever. I don't,
apples and oranges.
Yeah, it is. But I guess what my point is, I don't hold a lot of reverence for.
Gordon Freeman would never have sniped that seagull.
Yeah, I don't have a lot of reverence for the Half-Life franchise, so the idea that they're making a game set between 1 and 2, like, I want to see what they're going to do with VR.
Yeah,
So in terms of, like, what's the story? How are they going to fill in the blanks about the 7-hour war and the combat? Like, whatever. Okay, sure. Hopefully it'll be cool.
I'm with you. That
But
stuff does
I'm not, like, immediately drawn to it just by the virtue of it being a Half-Life thing.
People have been picking some lines of dialogue out of the trailer that seem like oblique references to like the end of episode 2 and stuff. So maybe there's going to be some weird time bending fuckery in there or something.
Or are they just going to, like, retcon the episode 2 stuff? Or are they going to make the episode 2 stuff make more sense by contextualizing it here?
Maybe. Well, there's like lines of dialogue from the end of episode 2 that appear in here and stuff like that, and references to those events, sort of like.
That is weird.
Yeah, I don't know. You know, the way that Gordon Freeman was on ice between games and stuff. Like they've obviously played around with characters doing weird time shit already. So who knows? Maybe they'll come up with something super interesting for that stuff, or maybe not.
Yeah, like will this game end with you discovering Gordon Freeman and freeing him from wherever? What is his story? He's trapped on a time train. He's trapped in Zen. Where is Gordon Freeman between the events of 1 and 2?
Sure.
Because like they thaw him out again at the start of 2, right?
Do they thaw him
Or he
out,
just
or
wakes
does he
up-
just like
I mean-
pop
I
up
mean,
out
you
of
know, just trying to-
interdimensional?
He pops up on the train.
Yeah.
But does he fall out of some
Move
portal
along,
onto the
citizen.
train, or is like
No, it starts with you on the train and
Yeah.
the G-Man's
okay?
talking
So it
to you.
doesn't necessarily like let you know like what you were doing before that.
No,
You
he's
just-
just like, hey, I'm back.
I don't.
You're back.
I mean, I haven't played the game since 2004, but I don't think he was doing anything in between games.
just kicking
Just
it.
sitting
thought-
politely
I think he
in
was on the
silence.
train.
I thought the implication was that he just sort of ported forward in time straight into the new shit or something. I don't know. I can't remember if they make reference to where he's been.
I never played 1, so I don't know.
Like, don't you fall through some high energy shit at the end of 1 and then you just kind of end up?
Always falling through that high energy shit.
That's right. I don't know. I hope they come up with some interesting spin on the story stuff. Anyway, yeah, it's coming out next March. I'm excited to play it. I'm excited to see what they do.
Yeah, let's see
yes.
what they do.
You'd like to think that, like
It's been this long,
Right.
in this franchise. I just want to see what the hell they've been working.
It looks
on, I
really
guess.
nice. Like the characters look really nice. Like it's, if nothing else, like VR has
Yes.
that cool
Yeah.
3D effect to it.
Yeah.
And it's
also,
gonna be nice
I
to
don't
just-
think you're going to see what they've been working on. You'll see what they've been working on with this, but
Right.
this isn't
Where their headspace has been
lately. But this isn't like, hey, what were they doing 7 years ago?
Oh,
Like
yeah.
it's not
Yeah,
like a
true.
Duke Nukem Forever
Right.
situation, right?
Yeah.
It's-
Thank God.
But we'll get a glimpse.
Yeah, well, yeah, you'll at least
Yeah.
see like. That's actually, I mean, I think the Keeley story, like he did that Final Hour stuff for us back at GameSpot back then, and he's doing one for this, and saying that they're going to get into like, so what were you doing with Half-Life between episode 2 and now? Like, actually, I think the story about like what they were working on and what they threw away and why they threw it away is actually the stuff I'm way more interested in than.
Yeah.
Have they confirmed they're going to get into that?
I think he
Oh,
said
wow.
that they are going to
Oh, yeah,
going to
that's right.
touch on.
Some of it's already leaked out there.
Yeah. Yes. Totally. Yeah.
So, like-
and we've heard stuff. So it's like
Yeah.
I want to
years.
see how much of that is true. Like, was there an external team working on storyboarded story sequences for Half-Life 3 and they didn't know what they were actually working on because it was fed to them a page at a time? Is that true? I don't know. I was told that.
Much like Gordon Freeman.
You're right, yes.
The state of the Half-Life
state between-
franchise between games is unknowable.
Right.
It just exists in the quantum ether
Yep.
Yeah.
until a new game materializes. Let's see. In other quick VR news, does anybody know how to pronounce the name of this website? Stevivor?
Survivor, like Survivor, but
Survivor.
with Steve. That's my guess.
idea. Not familiar with that site,
It's
but
going to be the
apparently,
original name for Minecraft.
apparently they got an interview with Phil Spencer at XO19, where they asked him about VR on Project Scarlet.
You should just read that quote at the top. It's brutal.
I feel like the full quote is less brutal. Let me scroll down to the full quote.
All right. I mean, yeah.
I have some issues with VR. It's isolating, and I think of games as a communal kind of together experience. We're responding to what our customers are asking for, and nobody's asking for VR. But I mean, he follows up. The vast majority of our customers know if they want a VR experience, there's places to go get those.
Yeah.
We see the volume of those on PC and other places. So,
Good.
Yeah, I
I
don't.
don't think he's saying nobody in the world cares about VR, period.
Sure.
He's just saying they're not hearing from people who feel like it
And there's probably not
Needs
a
to be
ton
part
of dev pressure to be like, oh, you got to have a VR solution, you know. But also at the same time, if let's say the PlayStation 5, you know, they put out their second headset, or you know, like if VR is an even bigger deal on PlayStation 5 than it was on 4, and that starts to penetrate in a bit wider sense, you know, like Microsoft could get there.
Yeah, there's no reason why they couldn't.
He even says that. There's another quote here where he basically says, like, it's not impossible in the future, but
Hey, we would like to develop other ways to take money too.
Sure.
But by all accounts, the PlayStation VR has done very well.
Yeah,
and Sony's out there filing patents for new headsets and stuff. So,
Right.
like, they're clearly in it.
But also, I think I do agree with the isolating aspect of it. Like, obviously, there are plenty of social VR experiences, and I think that's actually been kind of awesome, even if some of that stuff has been, let's just say, toxic. That's just been real gnarly in some spots, or requiring of moderation, let's say.
So the internet.
But right. If you got people in your house and you talk to them sometimes, you put on all the VR shit and you're just gone. I literally cannot do that. That doesn't fit into my life anymore. So I get that aspect of it too.
And again, kind of going back to the Half-Life stuff, like, I just don't feel like there's that much stuff out there that's just worth all the rigmarole of VR.
That's kind of been, I think that's kind of why I fell away from it so much. It was just like this feeling of like, I'm keeping all this stuff hooked up, and for what
like it's
exactly?
It's a lot of clutter. It's like you said, it's like you kind of you lose touch with your surroundings. Like, it's a commitment.
And you've got people that are just like, oh, well, you need to play Onward. And like they've got their list of games that they think are like, this is the game changer. And you play them, you're like, dude, no, it's super fucking not. Like, that stuff's neat. It's cool as hell.
Yeah.
It's just a bizarre turn of events that VR got to a point where it worked pretty goddamn well and is becoming more and more affordable as time goes on, and yet people aren't flipping out about it. It just kind of came. Sure. It came. It didn't like. It's not like it came and went. It came and people were like, "Oh, cool. I don't necessarily want to buy that," and you know, whatever. I don't want to play games that way. Like, you had a vocal people, a segment of people who were like, "Fuck VR. It's a fad. It's this. It's that," and it's not that either. Like, it works. It's rad.
Like, the tech is there. Just nobody seems to have quite figured out exactly what to do with it yet.
Or or
it feels like we're like waiting for somebody to like take some leap in terms of software design.
I feel like I feel like the software just isn't where I want it to be, but also I'm not sure where I want it to be. Just not where it's at now.
Right.
And then that's matched with people who are all in on it, going like, you got to try out Vader Immortal. And I'm like, I tried it out. It's fucking lame. It's terrible. It's just like, it's a bunch of half-assed puzzles, and then like, oh, I get to hold a lightsaber. That's cool. Oh, Darth Vader sure is tall.
It's because they can't
fucking cares.
I like holding a lightsaber.
It's because they can't tell you that the real reason that they're into it is the porn. They can't say
the porn is not that great.
Is Vader Immortal an Oculus?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I kind of want to check it out, but
the Vader porn's great.
It's so boring.
It's I don't know. It's episodic, and I did not play episodes 2 or 3, but I thought 1 was just so dull.
There you go.
So dull.
So you're saying episode 1, best Star Wars. Got it.
Is that the one made by ILM?
Yeah.
Okay. Is it easy to get Oculus stuff working on non-Oculus?
They have a.
Is that possible?
You want to see?
I don't know.
Vader
You got that. You got that Windows headset,
Yeah,
right?
Windows mixed.
I don't know if Revive works with that stuff or not.
Might.
Maybe it does. You'd have to look into
Like,
that.
that's another thing about VR that's kind of a pain in the ass. You know, it's like, is this going to work on my headset? Maybe.
Oculus made their stuff specifically.
If I install this homebrewed middleware that runs on top of this other middleware, it might work.
That's like, only if you want to play games that are exclusive to Oculus. Yeah. Everything that's on Steam generally works with
pretty much
everything.
Yeah.
But
there have been a few games where the compatibility is a little spotty with.
I think that stuff's generally gotten better.
It's better, but there's still cases where like it's like, oh, the movement doesn't work on the Windows headsets in this game. It's just like little bugs like that. Yeah. Those headsets are pretty cheap though. Like, I've definitely seen an uptick in people posting links to sales the last few days going, hey, can I play Half-Life Alyx on this?
Yeah.
And it's like, you can get like the best.
You probably can.
The Samsung Odyssey Plus, which is the best Windows headset, is like $229 right now or something like that. So,
like,
that stuff is out there.
Generally, I would say if you're going to go into that extent, like, go the rest of the way and think about getting a Quest, because the standalone nature of that thing, even though on its own it is less powerful than your PC is, being able to actually be fully fucking untethered.
Yeah.
And just like, okay, now I don't need to clear a space near my PC to do this stuff.
Inside-out tracking is like mandatory to me at this point. Like I could not possibly imagine getting a headset without it.
Right. And
like having cables all over the room and like little
sensors,
things on stands all over the place. Just to
be like, hey, in a pinch, I could just go outside and stand in my driveway and do this if I couldn't find any room inside.
end up on the front page of Reddit.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I could do something like that and find space like that. It's just the Quest stuff is so convenient. But again, it only runs stuff that's on the Quest store in that format. So you're kind of, but that's a wider variety all the time. Like more and more people are porting stuff to. I think Arizona Sunshine's coming at the same time. I'm not going to sit here and say like, man, they should port everything to the Quest because I don't want to play that stuff anymore.
No.
New things. Give me new.
I really
and
hope,
dramatically different.
Really hope Half-Life Alyx is cool.
Yeah, I do too.
Stadia.
Oh boy.
Good one.
December games announced for Stadia Pro members.
What do we got?
I got. Hang on.
I can't wait to get more games
from
man.
1982.
I got my Destiny. I got my Samurai Showdown.
And coming in December, on December 1st at 9 a.m., you will be able to go and claim Farming Simulator 19 Platinum Edition. And Tomb Raider Definitive Edition.
Wait, which Tomb Raider?
Is the first reboot Tomb Raider that is available for sale for $10 on there.
Yeah.
That is going to be...
That was half tempting.
I thought it was going to be like the newest one.
Nope.
Or the second one, which is the best one.
Those are both on there.
Well, the third one's already on there.
Yeah,
But not
all
for free.
three of them are on
these
there
are,
now.
These are the games.
Yeah, these are games
signing
that
up
you will get with your Stadia Pro. They also clarified there was some stuff like they had a support account some incorrect shit.
Was that the stuff about how like you lose access to games you bought on discount?
Yes, that
was a mistake.
So they included a paragraph in this press release saying like, as a reminder, you'll still have access to play the games you claim while you're a member of Stadia Pro. If your subscription lapses or you cancel it, you lose access to those games, though you'll continue to have access to all the games you've purchased.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So that was a pretty bad flub.
They're just building that library, man.
No, they're not.
Slowly getting there. Farming Simulator.
Those two games have been available for sale on the service since day one.
Yeah.
So you might have already bought them.
I almost bought Tomb Raider.
Yeah.
So it was only $10.
Yeah, there you go.
So we talked about it some last week. They've been taking some flack because some of their marquee games like Destiny and Red Dead Redemption do not run
at 4K.
Basically at 4K.
That stuff
which
is,
maybe that was like not a realistic expectation to begin with, but
it's what they
but they are charging people for a 4K service,
right? Yes. And also, you know, think about how much time they spent pre-release talking up the power of their servers, and we got these racks. They're going to run more powerful. Fucking Xbox One and a PS4. It'll be like two of those smushed together.
You got the teraflops.
The stage shot from the Stadia reveal going around of like 10.7 teraflops compared to 6 on the Xbox, 4.2 on the PS4. Like I think they flat out got out there and said, "Hey, it does more teraflops than both of those consoles put together."
And it turns out that's all theoretical power because no one's taking advantage of it. Right. So
like the stuff about Destiny running at like medium settings at 1080p is like falling pretty far short of what people expected.
They started blowing up after Digital Foundry kind of did their big expose on it. But
and then I think Bungie actually came out and confirmed that stuff about Destiny. To be fair, Red Dead will run at 1440p, and like that's a pretty demanding game generally, so like that's not quite as egregious to me. But they're not hitting 4K.
Yeah, if these are running on Google Super servers, then
and you're paying $10
a month and dealing with all the bandwidth to get a 4K stream.
Yeah.
Like, take advantage of it if you can, especially because that is the platform they ran on.
Well, I'm sure they were like magnanimous when all this came out, and they're taking responsibility and talking about how they're going to fix it, right?
Yeah, I mean, they put out a statement, which is what this story is about, which basically says, you know, hey, we give developers freedom to use their horsepower however they want. We're confident that they will continue improving their games over time. Yeah. Which basically just sounds like, you know, they didn't get there with the quality of their ports
passing the buck
for day one.
But also, why would they, okay. They by issuing that statement, they have set up this like chicken and egg problem of like, well, it's up to developers if they want to take advantage of it. It's like, okay, then the problem is, have you sold enough units, or do you have enough subscribers, members, whatever, to make that work worthwhile for a developer to do? Is it worth it for Bungie, who now is out on their own and has to call all their own shots and manage other versions of the game and all this other shit? Is it worth it for them to carve off a bunch of people's time to make a native 4K version of the game right now for Stadia for day one, when however many they pre-sold, you know, like at those numbers, at that install base, will enough people care? And that's a situation where Google should be subsidizing that stuff to be like, hey, we want great looking games on our platform as a showpiece for it, and we are paying up front to make that happen. And they didn't, and now here we are. So it just seems like a fundamental misunderstanding on Google's part, which is considering that they do have a number of like people who have been in this business for a long time in and around that thing. The mistakes they're making just seem weird. Or the oversights. It's, you know, it's not even necessarily mistakes, right? It's just like the things that they are fucking up on. You just look at it and go like, how did...
Miscommunication.
Yeah, or just like they got into it and thought it would be easier, or they thought that everyone would want to do it and be like, hey man, this is Google, well, this is the state, this is the future. Like, of course they're going to do the work, and then no one did the work. Because
or maybe they don't care until this thing is freely available and you don't have to be a founder to use it. Maybe that's the benchmark they've set for themselves.
Though those people playing for free won't be able to play it in 4K.
Right. Well, but you know, there's a $130 buy-in right now. Like, that's still pretty significant.
To get a Chromecast that is going to catch on fire.
Yeah, I threw that in here, but I mean, it seems to be based on a handful of Reddit posts, so who knows like how widespread it actually is, but there are people saying that playing Stadia is kind of melting their Chromecast, or maybe not melting, but you know, causing some severe overheating and in some cases crashing.
When we did that video, when we first checked out Stadia and I pulled that Chromecast out, it was fucking on fire. It was really obscenely hot. And I thought maybe it's because I had it on the floor or something, but then God, for a Chromecast to get that hot.
And we were only playing for like 2 hours, right? Like
if that, really. Yeah. And I mean, like, you know, there was a lot of downtime in between games, so I can't think it was that intensive resource-wise on the Chromecast, but shit, like it was fucking, I could see
it's
melting.
a Chromecast doing what a Chromecast do, which is playback video.
Yeah.
You know, it shouldn't.
Yeah. So like,
but like this firmware isn't widely available, so maybe it's just not like super well optimized, and maybe that's a result. And when they roll it out wide, maybe they'll fix it. Yeah, exactly. Like, it's just not ready yet.
Yeah,
like everything else.
See that like totally like if you have that shit dangling off of a TV, it could totally like melt some cheap plastic on the back of some.
It was that hot.
Some sets.
Wow.
Yeah, it was that hot.
Wow. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
The Stadia stuff is just endlessly fascinating to me. Because you just look at it and go like, how did that'll be an interesting book someday. Like, how did this happen?
Mm-hmm.
How did the decisions you made lead you to this point where this launch went like this?
Yeah, check back in 20 years.
Yeah,
somebody writes the tell-all. What do we got? Got tell-alls up through like the Genesis, Super Nintendo era right now.
Yeah,
there's not really anything else newer than that.
They scrape into the Saturn stuff and some of the mistakes Sega made around that.
Yeah.
And, you know, because that's a lot of the same people that were there for the Genesis era and stuff.
Yeah. Like there's those books, the Takahashi books about the Xboxes, but those are not from people on the inside.
Right.
Talking about what it was like. So anyway. Bobby Kotick says, we're not the operator of the world's town halls. From an interview on CNBC that he gave a few days ago.
He's not wrong.
They are the operator.
I would not want him to operate town halls.
I guess not. They are the operator of sick beards, though.
Yeah.
I guess.
Mustaches, really.
Yeah. This was all in service of him basically saying that he doesn't think that Activision's games should be a platform for political views.
Well, then why did they make Call of Duty? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Call of Duty is a pretty notable...
When you were able to jump over Ollie the Magic Bum in Tony Hawk 2.
Yeah.
they made their political statement.
Yes, unwitting,
Made their stand right there.
unwitting commentary on class struggle.
Yeah.
I mean, like seriously though, look at the most recent Call of Duty. Look at that shit they pulled with the like changing war crimes from America to Russia, and then the other end of the spectrum. Look at what we've talked about this before with Overwatch, but like making a big deal of this, like this character's gay, and then like selling some skins too, hopefully. And
So is this Bobby Kotick saying like, shut it down, representation, bah?
This is Bobby Kotick saying,
I'm here to get paid, and don't stop thinking
about taxes.
No, just stop
thinking about progress. Everything's
Stop
fine.
thinking.
Buy your video games. Turn off your brain.
Yeah. Bobby Kotick says, back in my day, video games were fun. No, I don't.
Back in my day of Custer's Revenge.
There is something about fun. Is there another quote from him that's just like...
We're the operator of the communities that allow you to have fun through the lens of a video game.
Yeah.
Is the other end of that quote.
Yeah.
I can't have fun and
Wouldn't that be nice?
do politics at the same time also. My brain would explode.
Political fun is neither. You know what I'm saying?
Damn. Disco Elysium in stores now.
Yeah.
I mean, there are some other quotes there about, my responsibility is to make sure that our communities feel safe, secure, comfortable, and satisfied and entertained. That doesn't convey to me the right to have a platform for a lot of political views.
Well, yeah, the right, certainly.
Yeah.
Like, no one's talking about rights here.
No.
It's just
Like Activision as a private company is under, the same way that we can ban people off our message boards. Like, of course, Activision is under no obligation to, have free speech. I mean, they banned people using swastika icons from Call of Duty,
right?
When they had in the years when they have custom emblem editors and such. If you make that shit, you get banned.
Yeah.
Like, yes, they moderate their community. There's no illusion of free speech. It's not about that.
And like, when people say all art is political, what that means is like, actively choosing to ignore politics is enforcing the status quo, which is inherently taking a side. Like it's, like don't question things. Like there's no politics
Stuff
here.
is chill.
Yeah.
I believe is their official stance.
Like, I'm not looking for every Activision Blizzard game to have a deep message about politics or shit. It's just,
but acknowledge, like I feel like it's not an honest argument that people are having when they say shit like this. I think anyone with half a brain looking at this stuff sees like, oh yeah, yes, that makes sense. There are things you would identify as political in these games. Mm-hmm. But they don't want to have to sit there and back it up or justify it or say whether they're
or make anyone upset.
Try to say that Bobby Kotick agrees or disagrees with the messages of any given game.
Yeah,
he doesn't want to have to be put in that position, so it's a lot easier to say like, oh well, we don't. We're just telling stories here. Same way movies do. Yeah, same way a movie would.
Super not political.
Absolutely, never once. There's never once been a political. Oh, Bob Roberts. That's the one. The only political film that's ever been made, Bob Roberts, in theaters. Well, not now, but I saw it in theaters.
What'd you think?
I liked it. It's all right.
Right.
What about Bulworth?
It's no Bulworth.
Fair. More news?
If you got it.
Okay.
Activision's Tony Hawk stuff.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Yes. Sorry. Let me pull that up. That just happened this morning. I forgot to open that tab. Let's just get
Games Radar.
Let's get through the Activision minute together.
Doing everything you can.
Games Radar wrote this report based off a podcast that a skater who was in Pro Skater 5 mentioned like, oh yeah, just kind of offhand said like,
was it Lil Wayne?
It was not Lil Wayne.
Okay.
Was it
Lizzie
Armanto?
Basically said like, oh yeah, I'm going to be in the next one of those, or Tony's doing another one, and I'm being that too. Do you have the quote? There's a quote in that Games Radar story.
This is wishful thinking, or is that an actual like, hey,
no? I think
in development?
It's literally like Tony Hawk is working on another game, and there will be another Tony Hawk game, and I am to be in that one.
All right.
Could that not just be another one of those phone
exactly.
games?
So that's there's kind of two separate parts to this where you've got this bit, which then I guess got scrubbed from the archive of this podcast
that's
after
been
the fact.
edited out of the SoundCloud posting.
Which then you go like, oh, okay, maybe there's some real shit going on here. Unannounced Tony Hawk game. Then you got that matched up with a guy on Twitter, a person on Twitter, who I believe his name is Sabi. There's an embedded tweet in that story.
Sabi.
Who was a known leak. Man, back in my day, you had to have a website to post a bunch of leaks on.
That's right.
You had to have fat babies.
That's right.
Was it Bitch X?
Yeah,
No,
Bitch
that's
X.
the Irk script.
Well, no, it's both.
Okay, it's both.
Yes,
All right.
it is both an IRC bot and an old school video game gossip site.
video game gossip site.
Although that was a lot more personal from what I remember. That was a lot more.
Fat
just like-
Babies was
or
pretty
or
personal.
Fat Babies the
yeah,
one?
Fat Babies was the message board where Midway people went to go bitch about Neil Nicastro.
Okay. I feel like I remember one of them was a lot more about like slinging personal dirt, and then the other one was
Fat
more
Babies
about,
had a
the
lot.
other one was
of,
more rumors. Maybe you're right. Fat Babies was the sleazy one.
because the Bitch X site was just like here's
That one
rumor
was just
stuff
products,
and Surfer
right?
Girl. That was
Surfer Girl
yeah.
was more recent. Jan's just like just squinting his eyes over there. Just like, what the
idea.
fuck are you guys doing?
These are just websites that like people
totally.
leaking shit.
This is pre social media video game industry, like turn of the
Sounds
century.
cool.
It was fucking awesome.
Yeah.
To read these gossip sites. I don't remember how much of it actually was legit.
Enough of it was to because you like we would there'd be an update and you'd read it and go like,
Yeah, like
oh, okay, actually
yeah.
reading this makes the three other things I heard click into total focus.
Okay.
That's what they're doing.
Like,
that
the-
makes sense.
The Bitch X was a lot more about like games that are not announced and stuff like
I think
that,
so.
right?
I don't remember.
can't
Or was
remember.
Bitch X PC focused primarily?
Maybe that was right.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I love
we're
some
old.
hot goss.
Yeah, I still don't know who
Yeah,
those
no idea
people
who any of those people were.
Like
Oh,
you
that's super
assume
cool.
that they were like because they would have a pretty decent range of stuff from different companies.
Yeah.
And so you go like, oh well, they must have a contact at first party somewhere in on the console side because they have such a wide range of things they know.
So was this like video game dirt sheets?
Kind of.
Basically, yeah.
It was all like video,
Yeah.
yeah. It was
Totally.
pretty much video game
Damn.
dirt sheets.
Yeah.
But then Fat Babies was just a message board where you would, as you dug through it, you would learn a lot about like unannounced games or canceled games or whatever. But then it was a lot of just straight up employees going and Midway employees going to complain about the guy who was running Midway at the time. And just like personal, just like, fuck this guy, just like going hard on this dude. And talking to people who were at Midway at the time and hearing like, oh yeah, we used to go read all that shit all the time and try to figure out who it was or laugh about it because it's so fucking true. Because Neil Nicastro was this and that and the other, like all that stuff. That stuff was always fun. But yeah, you would hear a lot of stuff that ended up being 100% true there. So now I think that's changed into there are people on Twitter saying who the next Smash Brothers person is going to be.
Right.
And there's
they're
1,000
often
people
right.
doing that.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
Like a lot of those
yeah,
leaks turn out to be true, but it's impossible to keep straight who is legit and who's got
If
credibility.
you're following it close enough, like if you actually figure out like
there's
here are
one
the people,
like the NetherRealms leak that has always been like really solid because it's like usually coming from the same person and
Capcom leaks are always
Yeah.
Capcom leaks.
But unless you spend your entire life in that world,
Right.
you always have to see it filtered through like a legit news site saying like this person has been known to leak real info in the past.
So
and then
so
you're
I
like,
guess,
okay,
I guess
this is probably
this Sabi person has something of a track record
Yeah.
with this stuff, and basically reported that like Activision had been passing around what appeared to be prototype builds or some kind of builds of like Tony Hawk 1 and 2.
yeah, which like I don't know what that means because
they did HD.
can't just- that's
like
what I
they
mean.
had Romomoto already do.
they
do
did
that.
HD. B, you can't just remake those games at this point, right? You got to do something bigger than that
Yes.
if you really want to bring Tony Hawk back for real.
Right. Well, look, if you really want to bring Tony Hawk back for real,
you gotta walk up to him and say, "Hey, you look like Tony Hawk."
yeah. And then he says, I get that a lot. And then you say, come with me. And then you bring him in front of a green screen, take a bunch of pictures.
Do a kickflip.
Yeah. I think if you're making a new Tony Hawk game in this day and age, it needs to be Skate. Not necessarily the franchise, but I think it needs to skew more in a realistic direction. I think Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 5 burned the last of whatever they had. And if you're going to make a full-on, like, don't reboot, don't fucking put 1 and 2 out, which they'll probably do. If you think about how well, like, I believe that this is something that they may actually go and do again, even though that Tony Hawk's HD thing came out. That thing was so poorly received because it felt bad. And then that team went on to make Tony Hawk 5, and that was bad. But if you did those games right and did them proper justice on modern consoles, like, those are still good games. You could still do that. And they proved with the Crash remakes and the Spyro stuff that, like, there's an appetite for that.
What if it's just that?
So I think there's that. I think there's two things. I bet there's two things. Or because you probably wouldn't put new skaters into those remakes, or maybe you would, and then that's
Maybe
it.
as, like, bonus
That's tidy.
characters.
Yeah, wrap it up.
DLC stuff,
But I think that would be less interesting. I think it would make more sense for Activision to be doing a classic trilogy or something like that is like, here's 1, 2, and 3, just like they did with Spyro and Crash and all that other stuff, because that stuff did really well for them. And they're probably looking at the rest of their catalog going, what else do we have that we can, like, we're out of Crash. We're out of like the meaningful Crash and Spyro games now. So what do we do? And that's, I feel like, one that they might look at and go like, okay, if we did this right, there is potentially an audience for this.
Yeah.
So the podcast thing with the skater saying, I'm in the next Tony Hawk game, for all we know, that's not even related to Activision. For all we know, that's Tony Hawk making Tony Hawk Skate Jam, whatever the mobile game that came out not that long ago. There could be a sequel to that. He could be looking to do another deal. He could be looking to do a deal with EA.
I was just about to say, what if they're making Tony Hawk's Skate?
That would be, I think, a shrewd move for everyone involved, because I think that's a very flashy way to bring back the Skate name. That would be wild.
Tony Hawk's Skate 4.
Yeah. Literally
Skate
Tony
for Tony
Hawk's
Hawk.
Skate 4. Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Sure.
It should be Skate for something. Tony Hawk's Skate for the future.
Tony Hawk's Skate 4 Tony Hawk. And it's just Underground 3 where you're on Tony Hawk's team.
Tony Hawk's Skate for Riley
Bam Margera's
Hawk.
there, and he's got okay.
You gotta, like, you're not playing as Tony, you're playing as Riley, and Tony's like kind of guiding you along, teaching you how to skate and stuff.
I would love to think that if they made a new Tony Hawk game now, that there would be a significant number of goals or bystanders or something like that, where as you skated past them, they would be like, you look like Tony Hawk.
Every NPC you talk to, they get like a quest.
Right, yeah. Every NPC you talk to is just like, you look like somebody. That'd be great.
That'd be great.
So I don't know. We'll see if these two things are completely linked together, but I think there is at least some chance that they are not. You could see a situation where Activision just does a one-off deal to, get the likeness rights back or whatever they need to do to put that trilogy of the first 3 games or first 2 games or whatever back out again. And then maybe he's up to something else. Or maybe they're going to do this and that paves the way for Activision to get back in the skateboarding business. God knows they need more video games because they don't have any anymore. They make Call of Duty and Call of Duty.
Yeah.
And they publish Sekiro and they do these remakes now. But they own Blizzard and they own King, and they do all this other stuff. But in terms of like Activision games, like they don't
do that anymore.
They don't do that anymore.
Yeah, they don't have a lot.
And they should. They probably need to.
Yeah.
And I think there's probably, as disgusting as Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 5 was, there is probably still some way to like navigate that fucking minefield and put out a new Tony Hawk game.
Yeah.
I wonder how far off that would be.
I don't know.
Console. I mean, it'd probably be a new console thing.
That can't be like a Game Awards announcement or something like that, right?
Maybe if it was near term, if that stuff was far enough along, maybe you
fact that it's
like
leaking
if
now
you're doing remaster stuff, you could announce remaster stuff at the Game Awards all day long.
Host the Game Awards.
Tony Hawk?
Yeah.
Seems like a nice guy.
Tony Hawk and Jeff Keighley.
Okay.
That's powerful.
All right.
I feel like he can't do thug because thug isn't like a in vogue word anymore.
Yeah.
But you still need the TH because of Tony Hawk.
Thud. Tony Hawk's Underdogs.
Thoughts?
Can you spell that, please?
Tony Hawk owns Tony. Skates. Yeah.
Yeah.
There we go.
You get Kotick on the phone.
All right. He'll say, I thought I said no politics.
Didn't say anything about thoughts.
He would never.
Or.
God damn it. Tony Hawk's World of Marvelous. What's a skateboarding term that starts with P? Just give me thwomp.
Yeah. Just give me thwomp.
Pick flips.
Yeah, pick flips. There you go.
All right,
Pogo.
there you go. Thwomp. You got it. A couple more
Peralta.
stories here. There have been rumors swirling around for a while that Capcom is going to give...
Hang on. What about this, though?
Okay.
Pony Hawk.
Last one. All right.
With Little Nas X.
Yes.
Yeah.
No.
No.
Because it's PWNY. Think about that. It's esports friendly.
I'm still...
I don't want any Tony Hawk games.
Oh, come on.
I'm still reeling from the Finnish janitor and controls Walkman saying pony.
Yeah.
I'm not ready for that yet.
Would Ninja be a guest character then?
Why wouldn't he be?
Oh no. Let's move on. Let's talk about other stuff.
It'd be Shroud. He's the one who injured his arm on the scooter doing scooter tricks.
Yes, he's extreme sports.
Would Ron Jeremy be in it? I saw him fall off a rented scooter.
Brad, you
Now
have
we
to read the
definitely
next
have to move
article.
on. Resident Evil 3 is purportedly getting the Resident Evil 2 remake treatment. That rumor's been swirling around for a while.
Surprise.
Off and on, but then a YouTube channel claimed last week that it is on track for a 2020 launch, according to this Eurogamer story, which ran because Eurogamer says they have also independently confirmed that it's happening.
I was going to say, I saw a YouTube channel that said the Earth was flat the other day.
And I've independently confirmed that that's the case.
Great. Okay, thank you.
That's why I'd never heard of that channel before, but Eurogamer seems to think that they know what's going on
Yeah, sure.
and that it's happening.
One of Capcom's most well-received games.
Yeah, that game fucking rules.
Recent memory.
3?
Oh, yes. You do mean remake?
I'm talking about the
2?
remake.
Yeah.
The remake was fantastic.
I still really want to play
I
that.
don't know if there's as much reverence for 3 as there is for 2, though. Like, I kind of...
They'll make it. They'll make.
Yeah, I mean, they could make it.
Isn't 3 the one with the guy chasing you?
So that's kind of part of it. Part of it is that the gimmick in 3 is just kind of the gimmick from 2 again, except a different monster.
Yeah. That's all I know about Resident Evil 3.
Stars.
Nemesis.
Yeah.
But you know, if you were doing a full-on remake,
You could
to
make
that
it
game,
interesting.
You could do
for
stuff
sure.
to it. Yeah. Be an opportunity for them to. Hey, what do you think they do when they get to 4?
I don't
Like,
know.
let's say this 3 happens because
I
of
don't
course
know.
it will. Like when you get to 4, what do you do? Like
Just
4
re-release
is,
that Wii one.
right? But like 4 is brushing up against that.
I
that
sincerely
point of,
hope
like,
nothing, because like 4 is still fucking getting re-released. Like, it's still playable.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
those old games are
Right. Like, do you
hard to play.
do you do a full remake of 4?
I don't think you- I-
Like,
I
what- is
hopefully-
that something people would want.
I think they should just leave it alone and make a new game at that
4-2.
point.
Okay.
Resident Evil 4-2.
Love it.
I think
You can play
So it's a
blitzball.
co-op.
Yeah, it's co-op.
I just want to read a sentence from this Eurogamer story.
Yes, please.
Considering the positive fan response to the brilliantly creepy Resi 2 redo,
Resi 2 redo.
Resi
the
2
fact
redo.
the fact Resi 3 is in development should be a little surprise.
Resi.
Is it RESI?
Yeah, it is.
Yes.
That is
It's just the most British ass.
Resi is one of those ones that
Footy.
just it's Resi and Ninty are the two that just maybe
Yep.
fucking god
Wait,
damn it.
it's like Nintendo?
Yeah.
I've heard that so many times. I've never put that. I thought it was just like,
No, that's,
You know,
that is,
I those two terms are both like incredibly charming and incredibly grating to me. at the
I like
same
Resi.
time.
I don't find them charming. I just go like, what? If that's not an effective abbreviation.
but yes, it is because it's Resident Evil. Resi. It's perfect.
It's the first 4 letters of resident.
and that works. It's perfect. I mean, I'm never saying Resident Evil again after that sentence.
Resi 2 redo.
I like that.
Resi 2 redo fits together.
2
That does
It's
roll off the
amazing.
tongue
It's
pretty
really,
well.
Oh, Ninty.
What you expect from a nation of people that would call someone named Gary Gaz for some reason. Yeah. How the fuck? What the hell's going on?
Resi
Gaza.
3 repeat.
What?
Yeah.
Even
Yeah.
Don't make
Resi
no
3
sense.
repeat.
I think doesn't.
Resi 3 for you and me.
Ninty is like the
I will
for
never
all
say
like
that.
the for as abrasive as like the big N is doing, like people that would write that.
Yeah.
For as stupid as that was, Ninty is way worse.
Speaking of Nintendo, really quick, did you guys read that profile about Kirby, the lawyer of Nintendo?
Jack?
There was a really long kind of piece about him because he passed away
Right,
recently.
yeah.
He's a really fascinating guy. Like he was
Like,
like
did you like
kinda-
work in the Justice Department in the 60s and stuff like that?
like he was pretty
I remember.
pro like civil rights and stuff. Like yeah, this is a good article. I wish I remember the outlet, but check it out.
Type Kirby into the internet.
Yeah, Type Kirby shoes off.
All right. 2 more quick stories. State of Decay 2 is coming out on Steam next year, which I mention mostly because it's still weird to me for Xbox exclusive to come out on Steam.
Yeah, I saw
Halo is coming out on Steam next
I
week.
saw
I know,
Gears
that's-
on there, and I'm like, what?
That's what I'm
is
saying.
going
Like
on?
I'm just not used to it yet. Also, State of Decay 2 is awesome. And
It's weird because they.
more people should play it.
I wonder how well those games do on Steam, and how much they serve as like someone going like, "Oh, Gears 5, I'm going to buy that," and then realizing like, "Oh, or I could just get Game Pass and not buy it."
Yeah.
Uh,
There's certainly people out there that only want games through Steam.
oh yeah, sure. Yeah, totally.
I'm confident. Also, like State of Decay 1 was on Steam. Like there's a precedent with that franchise being on there already, where Halo and Gears are new.
No, they should do it.
Yeah.
But it's like now that all that stuff is on Game Pass, like I just wonder if that stuff ends up serving as primarily like a backdoor shady ad for Game Pass without having to come out and say it.
We at the Xbox family are all about providing choice to our players.
Oh.
Play State of Decay 2. All right.
Did that come out this year?
No, that was last year. That's a good year and a half ago. That's game's kind of getting up there. All right. This is it. January 2021 will be the last month that you can play Battleborn.
2021?
Yes.
Okay, so we have a full year.
You've got a full year left. Can change.
Let's get into Battleborn.
13 months.
Yeah.
No.
buy a bunch
Let's do a
premium
year-long
currency.
series. We play twice a week, every week, become the best Battleborn players in the world.
Okay.
There's porn of it.
You don't say.
Part of a lot
All
of
right,
games.
now I'm in.
There's nothing
Yeah.
that there's not porn of.
Yeah,
I'm
but Randy
pretty sure.
Pitchford was like, "Yo, there's porn of this game, y'all."
Wait, did he say that?
Yes.
You don't remember?
Kind
Yeah,
of.
that was
Oh,
a
man.
that was like when after the game kind of came out and it was obviously struggling behind Overwatch, and Overwatch porn was such a big thing that Randy's like, "Oh, look, somebody sent this along my way.
let's go to the-
what
Look out out there. There's
what the heck?" And he like linked to some Reddit that's like Overwatch porn.
Let's go to the
Did
ultimate.
not have that I clicked through. Did not have very much Battleborn porn.
Let's turn to the ultimate metric of success.
Tell you
How
about this
much
mushroom
porn?
guy.
Mm-hmm.
He's mushroom all over.
Oh boy.
Uh,
All right,
All over.
2K has put
All
out
over.
some information about shutting down this game. February 24th, 2020 is when they will stop selling premium currency. You can continue spending premium currency and grinding it in the game after that, however.
Good.
But will I still be able to play Battleborn in any fashion after the servers go offline? No, once the servers are offline in January 2021, Battleborn won't be playable in any way,
Damn.
is the last question in their little fact. So,
I hardly knew it. Man,
like,
I hardly got a chance to play.
Well, then
Still
your
got some
year
time.
of Battleborn
Yeah.
starts now.
I guess so.
Just
If we play it
keep
enough,
it
we'll
away
bring it
from
back
me.
to life.
Keep it away from me.
coming to Giant Bomb Premium, a year of Battleborn. Wait, oh, God,
Don't.
what am I-
No. Absolutely not.
my year of Battleborn. Whatever. I'm not trying to dump on Battleborn here so much. It's just like divorced from like how well the game did or whatever. This is kind of like that nightmare scenario
Yeah.
of the game's ownership, like license versus ownership stuff of like, here's a game that some people paid $60 for that is going away.
And
Right.
a lot more in premium currency, probably. There are probably people who paid a lot of money for this game that they'll never be able to play
Oh my
again.
God, can you imagine?
Like 5 years is a pretty short. I think it came out in 2016. Like 5-ish years is a pretty short amount of time in the grand scheme of the video game medium.
Yeah.
You know, like there's, I mean, people are still playing 30-year-old games regularly and buying them, selling
who
them.
would do that?
Like, you know, it's not that old a game. So like just the idea that people bought it and soon it will just be a
But
non-product.
that's, you know, MMOs, like, you know,
Yeah.
that's not
Yeah.
new.
Oh, I know. But
It's
this doesn't really feel like it fits into that space to me so much. I know it's an online shooter, but it is
Yeah.
more of a, you know,
I bet that it would be hard in a lot of situations, even with the servers up, to find a match of Battleborn.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You know, otherwise, if
possible.
that was not the case, they maybe
Today
not.
or whatever, what day did that story break?
I'm sorry.
What day did that?
Did they make that out? Was it
it was like
yesterday?
yesterday.
Just close
I
that
think.
tab.
So yeah, today is your day to play Battleborn because it's everyone will be like,
Oh,
yeah, give that
I
another
got that.
shot.
Yeah,
and then tomorrow it will be impossible.
Maybe it
again.
has bots. I don't know. Maybe you can play it solo with bots or something if the servers are up, but I don't remember. I remember not liking that game very much at all.
I like MOBAs and shooters. It did not do it for me.
Yeah.
There was so much going on screen all the time. It was a nightmare to the eyes.
I think you were looking at the porn, actually.
That was the porn. You're right.
Yeah, it overwhelmed you. Was that game on Steam? It was, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wonder if people will find a way to hack together server support.
Oh, God.
If people want it bad enough, they'll eventually. I mean, especially now because they have a year to stare at packets.
Yeah.
And try to reverse engineer that stuff. So who knows?
Entirely possible.
Stranger things have happened.
Yes, for sure. Okay, that does it for news.
And they should. Whatever. If people, if people want to play Battleborn, they should play Battleborn. I don't mean to take that away from people and to be a dick about it. I just think Battleborn is a fucking bad game.
All right, there you have it. That's it for the news for this week. We're going to take one more quick break and then come back and read emails.
PlayStation has teamed up with RCA Records to release Death Stranding Timefall, original music from the world of Death Stranding. Now, Death Stranding is a PlayStation game by the famed Metal Gear Solid developer Hideo Kojima. The Death Stranding Timefall soundtrack features all new music from Churches, The Neighborhood, Alan Walker, Major Lazer, Khaled, Bring Me the Horizon, and more. There's some new singles here like Trigger, a collaboration between Major Lazer and Khaled, and Death Stranding by Churches, and Ghost by Aura and Alan Walker. There's an official playlist for fans to follow on Spotify, including all the music from the soundtrack. Death Stranding Timefall is available beginning November 7th on Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon, iTunes, YouTube Music, Pandora, and more.
It's that time again.
What
time is that?
The E time.
Electronic time.
It's electronic time.
To read emails.
Jan's got it. Time for emails.
Emails.
300 beats.
Yep.
Straight up and straight down.
That's the 3 is like an E backwards.
Mm-hmm.
That's how you know.
3 mails.
3 mails. Bombcast@giantbomb.com. First email is from Aaron. Besides listening to you guys discuss energy drink flavored corn dogs, I have never heard anyone talk about Bang Energy before. I just started a new job, and the person training me said they were tired after lunch. When I suggested getting some coffee, she said that coffee and Red Bull don't work for her.
Nah, man.
The only thing that does is Bang,
Super creatine.
which feels like someone saying weed doesn't get you high, so you just do crack.
Word.
Would you trust someone who doesn't drink coffee or energy drinks just Bang? I like his suggestion at the end that Bang is not an energy drink. It's something
something more.
It's something else.
It is something else.
Well, it is something else.
Yeah. I stopped drinking Bang on account of the guy that runs it. Seems like he's like an anti-vaxxer and all this other stuff.
Oh,
And,
smart.
like, just seems like a real piece of work.
Seems like a good reason not to trust it.
There are other 300 milligram caffeinated energy drinks on the market.
True that.
But do they have super creatine?
Well, some of them are literally knocking off some of the Bang formula stuff, and if you believe that guy, he's suing them and all this other stuff. I don't know.
Oh, no.
They're threatened by him. I don't know.
Yeah, that dude's Instagram turned from like a funny thing to a sad thing once you start realizing that he's like,
what the hell? Like, yeah,
not just an eccentric weirdo. He's
yeah. There's more
a different kind of eccentric weirdo.
Connected from real.
more. So I don't know. Whatever works. At the end of the day.
Whatever gets you there.
People's caffeine tolerance is
Totally,
wax
that
and
stuff
wane
varies.
and-
I pretty much only drink rock stars these days, like the 0 calorie rock stars, or sometimes the 0 calorie monsters. Though I think since Death Stranding came out, I have not had one monster.
Good for you. Stands strong.
Anti product placement.
I guess I don't know.
Opposite of the intended
It
effect.
just worked out that way. No, I like the 0 calorie rock stars. I think work reasonably well. He's got one right there.
I like my caffeine to come from a plant.
Yeah, a processing plant where they turn it into delicious 10 calorie lemonade. No, I drink, what is it? There's one that's like, it's 4 fruits. It's like, it's tangerine, mango, strawberry, something. I forget what it is. That's the
some
one.
good fruits.
40
So
fruity.
it's the one I'm liking these days.
Those are just lab chemicals tricking your brain.
Hell yeah, they are. What is
As opposed to
caffeine?
caffeine.
Yeah, in most situations. I've drank more coffee over the last
Hell yeah.
couple of years.
It's all just
but
molecules.
it's always
Can't
like
do it.
it's always like highly blended drink form.
It's still fine. It's still okay.
I'm pretty sure it's still the highest kind of caffeine to volume ratio.
I don't know, man, because yeah, probably, but I feel like coffee is just a roll of the dice for me if it's gonna do anything. Like sometimes I get fucking outer space, fucking mega wired, crazy, and sometimes I drink it and I just want to go to sleep.
Or sometimes you got to go number 2.
Yeah. Also, sometimes there's straight up a butt problem that occurs, and it's just inconsistent. And I can't count on coffee when the chips are down because I never know what's going to happen. So
A wild card.
yeah. So I gotta stick with what is consistent, and that's these 0-calorie rock stars and monsters.
So all about that mate life.
You,
The
you
yerbs?
you yerb the fuck up.
Yerb up.
Yerbing up.
I mean, we have free coffee here,
Yerb.
so I default to that. But if I'm ever like out and need something, it treats me right. The high is not too high. There's no
get you.
crash. It's just
I tried
I can
to
respect
yerb
that.
up after watching you yerb up for so long.
Yeah.
I was in a situation where I could yerb up, and I did. It didn't really do much for me.
it. Like some people, it does nothing. Some people, it's like it makes me crazy, and I can't drink it at all because
Yeah,
it's like way
same.
over the
Yeah.
top.
I
But
can't do it.
it hits me right in that sweet spot.
You gotta yerb up to yerb down.
That's also true.
That's the song.
I said, what's the word? A yerb up.
Yep.
Up.
Speaking of Death Stranding, Mike from Wales. Guys, it's time falling outside. What things do you put outside to see the effects of time fall on them?
My hopes and dreams.
You have some? That's impressive.
There's like I have like a plastic bag.
We'll crush the rest of them out of you.
Yeah.
Give it another few months.
Wait, okay. Exactly what does time fall do
It
again?
just accelerates the flow
It
of time. on whatever
accelerates.
it
Okay,
touches.
I was
So
getting it backwards.
that's why you see like the plants like growing very fast
Right,
and then
right.
dying and stuff.
I would put out Peeps because I like
Peeps?
I like a good stale peep.
Oh,
that a
wow.
little-
What the fuck?
Yeah.
That's okay.
What?
That's like really making the time fall work for you.
Twinkies. See what happens.
Oh, yeah.
You know,
Okay.
They probably don't change at all.
Oh,
right?
probably not.
Yeah.
Oh.
I don't know, baby Yoda.
No. Keep them pure.
I just want to see what like a Yoda's growth in rapid, like in real time, looks
I
like.
want to see a time.
I wanna
seen it
see,
all.
no, but I want to see like middle-aged Yoda.
Okay.
What
It's probably not too much.
Could you put a barrel of whiskey in the time fall?
Oh, that's the
Like
good.
they use it to grow crops very fast in the game, so I guess it
Yeah.
can work that way.
So
Okay.
Yoda's another type of species, right?
Yeah, his
Yes.
name's not Yoda, but
I know. I mean, just Yoda. I mean, the character Yoda.
yeah.
Yes.
I feel like when I was seeing Star Wars as a kid and they didn't necessarily specify what Yoda was, I just assumed that he was a very old human that like the Force had
he
warped
pickled.
into. Like, yeah, exactly.
pickled
Like,
in the
like after
Force.
being the Force kept him alive for a fucking 1,200 years.
got
I
left
kind of
out
thought
there.
the same thing, except
it
the
was
ears.
just
His ears are
you know,
real big.
Sometimes old man's ears get fucking weird, right?
True.
Yeah.
All right.
Maybe not weird like that, but give it, again, if Yoda was 1,200 years old, who knows what the fuck would happen?
That's true.
If you were 1,200 years old, what would happen to your ears? We don't know.
It's the only one way to find out.
Exactly.
Get in the
Step in
time fall,
baby. Is Gollum a hobbit?
Yes.
Okay.
It was kind of. It's like
Yeah.
a different kind of like a river hobbit.
Yeah, he was
Like not exactly the
just
same.
He was a little off.
Not, he's not of the Shire, let's say.
Okay. Because I, as a child, I thought Gollum was a hobbit. So okay.
Yeah.
I never bothered to look it up.
Yeah, no, that is, yes.
So seeing another one that's a baby one, I think
Yeah.
is the first time that I've ever looked at it and went like, oh, I
What
guess
about Yaddle?
I guess Yoda's a thing.
You're gonna really sit across from this table and tell me you don't care about Yaddle?
Don't you talk bad
I
about
don't
Yaddle.
care about Yaddle.
She's the greatest member of the Jedi Council.
Don't you talk battle about Yaddle.
She was a prisoner for hundreds of years.
Wait, is that,
Yeah.
is there back? Of course there's backstory.
Of course,
Wait.
she was like, Yoda didn't want to let her on the council because he was like, she's too intense. But Yaddle was the purest of
Loose
heart.
cannon.
Who's Yaddle?
It's the Lady
Battleborn.
Yoda from the prequels.
There's a Lady Yoda
There's
in
a Lady
the
Yoda.
prequels?
Yes.
She's in the Jedi Council with Samuel Jackson.
Fuck, man.
How do I not know this?
Prequels are
I think I've
amazing.
seen those movies.
And it's not like a Twilight or whatever.
No!
Wow, I didn't know there were like promo shots of Yaddle.
Is it are Yoda's Twi'leks? Is that
No,
a different thing?
No, they're
Twi'leks
Okay.
are different.
They don't have a name.
species.
I think it was.
They don't
left.
have a name.
It was,
Wait,
They don't have a name for
It's
the
just-
species.
That's Yaddle? I thought Yaddle was pink.
it was left.
No,
in,
Yaddle's green.
Okay, I'm tripping.
I know who you're talking about.
Yoda.
I guess,
Okay,
I
there
guess
is
that's not Yaddle, but I know the pink being that you're talking about.
Pink
but
thing.
Hang on, Jedi Council pink
thing.
Floyd is what came up.
Yep. Yeah, Pink Floyd. If you play Dark Side of the Moon and Episode 1 at the same time,
You get real
you
high.
get fucked up.
That's yep. I'm just not going to go into the contents of this here. There's
That's
Are you
middle-aged
showing
Yoda.
pornography?
There's
Yeah, that's
Yaddle.
Yaddle.
There's Yaddle.
Yaddle is just the middle-aged Yoda I've been looking for all this time.
Man, I didn't think we were going to do better than Darth Souls, but I think we
So
may
at
have
some point, Yodas are tall?
No,
I don't
Yaddle's
No,
short.
Yaddle's short. That's just
okay.
a flattering
now
pick.
I want to know what the pink
Right?
alien is, and I have no idea.
I mean,
So that was the Phantom Menace, right?
Yes, Phantom
sure.
Menace.
I mean, if we just like look up the Jedi Council and
Blocked
kind of,
out all of this.
Yeah, I don't.
it's like a pink Yoda.
I saw Episode
with
1.
ears.
I think I saw
I've
two.
seen these movies.
I saw
I
two.
have
She
no
doesn't have
idea
any
what you're talking
lines.
about.
She's like in the background sitting next to.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
Is it even Peel?
Oh, there's that guy. Maybe that's who I was thinking of. That guy's fucked up.
Should I watch the Star Warses?
I don't know.
one?
Sure.
Do what you feel.
I never saw Episode 3, and I haven't seen the only new of the new era of Star Wars I've seen is Rogue One.
Rogue One's the
good.
best. Out
I
of the
like
newer
Rogue
ones.
One.
Yeah.
I like.
I mean,
that.
I'd say I'd recommend watching Episode 3 just to hear
Yeah.
Hayden Christensen yell, "I hate you!"
It does sound good.
Episode 3 is like entertaining.
I don't remember what Episode 2 was at all because I saw it in a hotel.
Watch
and
the
I've been
Clone
drinking.
Wars series
There's a-
instead.
There's a space. There's a
Okay.
space
That's too
50s
much
diner.
embarrassment.
Yeah, Dexter's Jesters.
Attack of the Clones
50
has a space
diner.
50s diner in it.
They have a sock hop.
Fucking weird movie.
In Episode 3, there's a bad guy who's a robot, but he's got human lungs on the outside for some reason.
No, he's a lizard.
cyborg.
He's like some kind of alien
Oh, yeah.
lizard,
Yeah.
except that there's only eyeballs and a brain and
And he's got like 8 lightsabers and he
Internal
whips
organs.
around. And that part's actually kind of
That's
cool.
kind of cool.
also there's a part where he rides some kind of weird ass full-size unicycle thing while Obi-Wan
Yeah.
Kenobi is chasing him on a giant lizard.
There's some shit in 3. Oh,
The prequels go some places.
3 is worth it just for Execute Order 66 and the following scene, because that is like some of the most hilariously bad stuff ever in a movie.
So that stuff happened. That wasn't just from that game. That's not
No,
just
that's
a Fallen
real.
Order thing
Yeah.
they made up. Okay,
All right, let's stop talking about Star Wars.
Clone Wars series is actually really good.
I bet it is, but I was just like,
It is.
ooh,
It's a lot.
I'm not gonna
It's a-
watch
it's a
series of
ton.
television.
Damn it, I had an email and I
I started watching that Mandalorian.
lost it.
Yeah.
It's pretty,
good, man.
It's pretty good. It has a lot of nice like practical sets and stuff that remind me of old Star Wars.
Dude, it made Werner Herzog cry.
Hearing Werner Herzog say "put down your blasters" is very funny to me.
All right.
I know I jokingly said that I deleted that Disney Plus year for free thing, but I looked over the weekend and I might have actually deleted that.
It heard you.
I might have just said, fuck it, I don't need this shit.
Your heart wasn't pure.
All right. I guess an answer to that question is not forthcoming.
I'm sorry, what was that?
Wait,
So here's another email.
Yoda.
This is from Gabriel.
It's E40 talking about weed.
I'm going to read the subject line because it has an amazing typo in it. The subject line is, I know you're done eating songs, but
We are done eating songs.
maybe you are. Can I propose the worst song of all time? It came out in 1969. Age of Aquarius.
It's pretty bad.
Imagine being locked in a room with that
bad.
song
Pretty bad.
playing nonstop.
It's pretty bad.
When I used to
Ooh, that was
teach
pretty-
at
it's
a
pretty
musical
bad.
theater summer camp,
Not a big fan.
Oh, boy.
that was one of the songs we taught to the children's ranging from like 8 to 10.
Huh.
And I fucking hate that song.
I could see that.
When I was in high school and I took drama in my junior year, I had to do
Hair?
a greased lightning
Oh.
routine. And it, I did not like it going in, but boy, I hated it
Coming
coming
out.
out.
Yeah.
I hate Age of Aquarius.
Oh, yeah. It's
I think it's hard to like objectively come up with a worst song of all time, but the idea there of like being trapped in a room with this song, like is a good way to kind of narrow that down as a decide like which
Or
song.
just whittle you down as a person.
Because there was
It's a very good way.
do you guys remember The Mole, that kind of reality show where it was like one
Featuring
person?
Eric Von Den from Brink.
Was he in? Was
Hell
that
yeah, he
normal,
was.
or was that Celebrity Mole?
Oh, I think that's Celebrity.
Because
Is that just
there
one of
was
those shows
Celebrity
where
Mole.
like it's like undercover boss kind of?
No, I mean the basic premise is it was like kind of like a Amazing Race style show, except one person is an agent working for the network or whatever, trying to slowly sabotage things, and people have to figure out who it is.
That sounds terrible.
But one of the things was like you have to be trapped in a room while Tiny Bubbles plays on repeat for 12 hours. And I just remember the interview with, I can't remember who it was, coming out of there being like, I need therapy. I'm mentally broken in a way that it's such a nice song, but hearing it on repeat like that would just destroy you.
To say like my first reaction to that was like, yeah, man, let's go. I'm like,
Just the little ukulele plucking along.
yeah.
Okay, Derek in Ottawa.
Hey.
My wife just gave me a Switch Lite for my birthday. It's the gray one, which accurately represents my age.
Happy birthday.
I haven't owned a nice piece of tech like this in quite a while, so I have to ask, is it still cool to put stickers all over your electronic devices? If so, what would be some choice stickers to put on my Switch to let everyone on the bus know that I'm hip and down with pop culture?
Some
for a
giant
while,
bomb stickers you
some-
can get. Do we sell the stickers?
Yeah, we
don't sell them. I think we
stickers
give them
in-
away.
You maybe get one with the order. I don't know what they're doing these days, but yeah.
One of those.
Maybe that.
Giant bomb stickers.
Put a big Yaddle sticker on there.
I have a big box of stickers, and I have no idea why. I've started collecting them inadvertently.
I can never use stickers.
Yeah,
I can never commit. I always look at them thinking maybe I would rather use this on something else later. I can't put it on.
Yeah, no, it is the physical manifestation of saving all your shit for the last boss fight and not using it.
Yep.
You're going to die with those
I'm going
stickers.
to cover something. Just completely in stickers.
I have some
kill it.
filing cabinets that I was like, at some point was like, I'm just going to start sticking stickers to these filing cabinets.
Sure.
And I didn't cover them or anything like that, but one of them came out of a little quarter vending machine.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a picture of a girl, and it says brown-eyed girl, but it's been folded. It had been folded. It was, it was sticking out of the machine. It was sticking out of the machine when we walked by, and I grabbed it, and someone had like mutilated it in such a way that it only said brown eye. So I stuck that on there.
We've got that little arcade cabinet in the studio that I've been slowly putting stickers on.
Oh yeah.
Just completely covering it. I have so many cup noodle stickers that they've sent us that I've just one side is completely plastered in cup noodle. But if anybody wants to send me stickers, I'll take them and put them on that arcade cabinet.
I'll take them and never use them.
I would say go try and find a local con, like an anime con or some
the
other
artist
convention.
alley.
There's always a good artist alley at those, and they've always got great unlicensed or unofficial
Like
licensed.
Goku, but high.
Yeah, or just a Goku. Like, this is my drawing of Goku, and it's kicking ass.
Baby
And you're
Yoda
I like that.
Goku.
Yeah.
I got like a
So many
6-inch
Gokus.
Terry Bogard sticker. He's just cute. That I got
Is he
at
like
Anime Con.
doing the hat off thing?
No, hat's on. I think he's just standing there. Arms
Nice.
folded. Being Terry. I don't know.
Just doing Terry things.
He was $1.
All right.
It's a good deal for a sticker.
That is.
It's a big ass
For a
sticker.
size that sticker that size?
Big ass sticker.
Man.
Let's see. This one's from Dylan.
Get a baby on board sticker and put it on your Switch Lite.
That's not bad.
I don't know what message that sends. I just think that'd be like a really dumb thing to have on there.
See, it's funny because a baby can't be on board a Switch.
Exactly.
There's no way it would fit in there.
Yeah. But also maybe you're making the statement that the Switch is for kids, which I
Right.
think would be incorrect.
Let's see. On a recent show, Brad made a comment along the lines of, "That's some Meridian 59 shit," in response to Ben thinking that Death Stranding sent him a text. Were you referring to the 1996 MMO? I just threw this in there because no, I totally was thinking of Majestic.
Yeah.
Just to clear up any confusion. Majestic was the weird game that texted you,
and
or not
all
text, because that was
the-
before text messages, right?
Right. It would call you.
It called you
I
and
think
faxed
it could
you?
fax you if you so chose, and it would instant message you over AOL Instant Messenger.
Yeah.
Nice.
I had some of those AOL accounts on my friends list right up to the very end.
Yes. Yeah, he says, was there some controversy about the developers of Meridian 59 doxing players or something? I just want to be clear, no.
Probably.
I had the wrong game in mind. Dom from Delta, Colorado. In a recent episode, you talked about Coolio having his own cooking show. I don't know if he had his own show, but he was on an episode of Chopped where he got disqualified for cheating. He forgot an ingredient and tried to cross his arms over his chest and secretly sprinkle the ingredient on the plate once the time was done.
Nice.
That's a G-ass move from an OG, and while he lost, I respected his move.
You got to go for it.
This makes me wonder, if you could watch a cooking show hosted by a gaming character, who would it be? I'd watch a show about barbecuing food hosted by a Salamanders chapter Space Marine from 40K. There's nothing tastier than heretic meat roasted in the holy fires of the God Emperor.
Meowscular Chef, Monster Hunter World.
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah.
God, that food is like the best looking video game food I've ever seen.
But there's the Grandma Chef now.
Oh, I haven't
Oh, she makes some delicious stew.
That's not bad.
She's probably going to be a good TV personality as well.
Peter Pepper.
Peter Pepper.
Cooking Mama.
Yep.
Feel like it'd be a chill show.
It's too literal.
These are all very obvious answers.
Yeah, no.
But
I'm
also,
going
like,
for
I would say the cast of Dig Dug. Like a Puka and a Fygar. You got Fygar breathing fire,
Fygar's-
heating things up.
Puka can like
Francis York.
Puka with a chef's hat. That's all I got.
Francis York Morgan.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
make a sinner
bad.
sandwich.
Yeah, he's just making it going, great. Over and over again.
Here you go, Zach.
Funky Kong.
I wouldn't trust any food that Funky Kong made
Why?
because it would get me high.
It would get funky.
And
And I don't want that.
I mean, you don't have to eat the food. You're just watching Funky Kong cook. Let the boy cook.
Funky Kong cook.
Funky,
No?
Funky Kong cook.
Can cook.
Ben appetit.
Yeah.
All right, there you go. Coming to Giant Bomb Premium. All right, that's going to do it for emails. Thanks to everybody who wrote in about that stuff.
Yeah.
We appreciate it.
Indeed.
Yes. Short week, obviously, with Thanksgiving happening
Right.
this week.
Yeah, we're going to stream some stuff on Wednesday. Come on through.
That's tomorrow.
That is tomorrow.
Oh, shit.
So that'll be happening.
We're going to play 8 different versions of Mr. Do.
There are really 8.
There's an Amiga port. There's a different BBC micro version.
All right.
We'll finally answer the question, what does Mr. do? And that's Mr. Do.
Yeah.
After shows on hiatus this week.
Yes. We have some other pressing recording happening here.
Yes. So that will happen. Check out the stream tomorrow. I think East's got some stuff cooking for later in the week as well.
And the stuff's on sale.
Yeah, stuff's
Yes.
Store.giantbomb.com for 20% off all the merch, and giantbomb.com/upgrade for $35 annual memberships. You can't beat that price.
It's a good
I
deal.
dare you.
It's a good deal.
You can't beat $35
You can't beat that
through next Monday.
with a stick.
That's
I don't
right.
know. That's
Okay.
people say that.
All right. Well, thanks everybody for listening. We're going to get out of here and go do some
Yeah.
other stuff. We'll see you next week. Bye.